I think he might actually raise to kind of shut out his opponents from like queen 10, ace queen. You know. Yeah, I like the raise here. You know, no one's going to play back at you because you look like you've got a jack. And that's a good thing because, like I said, this is one of those games where you want to take down what's in the middle because your opponents have a lot of equity.
So in that regard, it has a lot of similarities with Pot Limit Omaha, right?
I don't play Pot Limit Omaha personally, so that's going to be a struggle stream for me later.
Fair enough.
But that's what I've heard.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it just from what I've heard from really, really good players who play Pot Limit Omaha. Again, I'm not in that category. They talk about how since your opponents often have a decent amount of equity, just taking down what's in the middle is really important. Which is different than Hold'em. In Hold'em, oftentimes your opponents just won't have many outs. They might have 2 outs. They might have 6, somewhere in that range. And denying that equity, while good, is not as imperative as it might be in a game where your opponents have significant amount of equity. Silver, by the way, didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think Silver thought maybe Joanna's making a play at the pot. He goes, check, check.
Oh!
Yeah. Unfortunate. See, these things happen a lot. You might be like, that is such a bad beat run out, but like, this is short deck. You have just seen the beginning of it. Now you're Silver here. I would like to see him consider going for some value.
I mean, the thing is, he should have a lot of, if he called, he's going to have a lot of queens in his range because of the straight draw, right?
Yeah, queen 10 is actually the most common straight draw that would have called the flop raise. And that's why you see Joanna actually thinking about it. He's wondering, you wouldn't bet a jack here right now, right? And, I mean, he's also getting a good price, so you can see both sides of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, he's getting about 3.5 to 1 right now to make this call with a full house. So I pointed out maybe some of the similarities with Pot Limit Omaha. That's pretty much where it ends, because you get 2 cards and you can play the board.
So Joanda in the tank. He's never played of Silver in this game. Seems like he wants to fold his hand.
That's one thing that's kind of fun about this game. Not only is it relatively new, but it's new to a lot of players. So players don't necessarily have history with other players playing this particular game. And that's all kind of being developed as we watch. John Joanda thinking about this one. It looks like he's going to call. He does. He makes the call. Silver shows him the bad news as Joanda's hand goes in the muck. Once again, you are watching the Triton Poker Super High Roller Series.
Sorry, John. He's been taking me for like nice meals every day, and this is how I repay him, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate it. They're trying to give me some money. Actually, it's pretty good payback.
There's a look at Steven Sondheimer, German. Very talented young player.
Cool.
I felt bad for him. I was like, oh no. What did I do?
So I've been avoiding this guy's name ever since I've seen it. Do you want to take a shot at it?
Do we know what country he's from? Because that would help.
He is from, what is that? The flag with the blue and yellow on it. Half blue, half yellow. Top half blue, bottom half yellow.
Okay, so could be, is that Scandinavian? Sklarek? I'm going to say maybe the H is silent and go Sklarek.
He is from Ukraine.
Sklarek.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
My apologies to him and to his relatives. Maybe we'll find out exactly how to pronounce his name at some point.
I feel like Stapes knows.
But I'm going to go Sklarek. I've done enough European poker.
So he's actually betting out here with a pair and a straight draw. Sondheimer's got bottom 2 pair, and it's actually not the strongest when you're very deep stack on this board.
It's really fun to kind of watch a new game and watch some of the smartest and best minds in poker figure it out on the fly.
Silver makes the quick call of the nuts. I think the reason he just calls here is because he thinks the hand
I need a tissue paper.
would look too strong, exactly ace-10, if he raises. But if he raised the flop, he probably would have won the pot right there and win the middle, but now he's let Sondheimer pick up the full house. Queen 10. When he sees a bet and a call, two of them,
Check.
should be a bit careful. He does check. Now, of course, full house, it's a good hand in this game. But if the flush gets there, you lose. So you actually do want to kind of bet for value. You have more incentive than normal.
Yeah, and that's something you've got to wrap your head around. I know when I play this game, I'm going to try to play a little bit if I can, and just wrap your head around that, because you might be, if you think you have, like, let's say you have even top set right now. Let's say you have a set of kings. You've got kings full. You're thinking, well, I can't lose. No, actually you can. On a club or a spade river, you can lose. One question I will ask you, Randy, is in terms of how deep these players are, since we measure it in antes rather than big blinds, what have you noticed? How many antes is comfortable? How many antes is short?
You're never comfortable in this game of antes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
There you go. Never comfortable. I like it.
Yeah. That's
But what's
pretty much all I can say.
What's short stack, though? At what point is it like shove or fold, basically?
30 antes, I suppose. Maybe a little bit less than 30 antes. But 30 antes does shove a lot, too. So it's hard to say. I definitely have not solved this game.
Right. No, hey, listen, we're all learning on it as we go along. This is fun.
All right, so we got Sondheimer betting again here. It's actually a really small bet because he thinks that Silver has a hand like Jack 10 or some kind of Jack, or maybe like a King Queen that wants a hero call.
Maybe.
I mean, does it influence whether you want to call or not based on the fact that flushes both missed?
I think he should be calling to ace 10. Unfortunately, he is behind. He's getting a good price.
All right, let's play one more hand, boys, so I can rebuy.
So apparently the re-entry period is not closed yet, as I saw it go from 66 to 68.
Wait for a safe turn, they say.
There is no safe turn in this game.
What?
Never
Good
comes.
straight or the bad straight?
Good one.
That could be the chop.
Yeah. Didn't think I was chopping with 10-9, don't worry.
I wonder if the short deck version will eventually make its way in pot limit Omaha as well.
Short deck Polymom, huh?
Yeah, I mean a different version of it, obviously, but hey, why not?
Yeah, you could try that. I wonder how many players you can play with. Just play like 7-hand and all the cards are out.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
If John busts this hand, can he rebuy? Yeah. All right.
So it sounds like registration is open, but you must use all your bullets. So I think I understand.
Okay, there we go. 'Cause I saw, like I said, I saw the field number went from 66 to 68
John,
just in the last
that
two
was
hands.
Very
So,
positive.
Yeah, you just couldn't play with a 100K stack anymore
Sure,
because it'd be
go
too
ahead.
shallow.
by the way, 7-6 suited.
There you go.
Kind of a nice hand in no limit hold'em. Not that good in short deck, right?
Yeah, not that good, but as you can see, Joanna asked, can I rebuy? And was like, well, that was the deciding factor.
I enjoy the game too much to give up. So I have to either rebuy or double up.
I love it. I love it.
Comes the flop.
7-6 versus
Hey, that
ace
looks
10. That's a
pretty
good
good.
start for him. He's got a pair of sixes.
Still 36% for Chung.
Ooh.
That's not a good card
Doesn't look
because
too
you can
good.
get counterfeited.
Maybe a 9.
Yep, an ace, a 10, or a jack. King is a safe card, and Joanda wins this.
147.
He does get the full double up to 318,000.
Yeah, his choices were double up to 318 or pay another 100K and get 300,000 chips. So it seems like a win-win situation. It's all about asking if you can rebuy if you bust his hand. Everyone knows your hand is not that strong once you
I
say that.
obviously would have folded.
Hey, that's a
if
pretty
he
good,
had said
pretty good
no.
angle though, huh?
Yeah.
So you would.
If you have a monster. Event number 3. That's what you're watching here. Antes 8,000. The button is 16,000. Every player antes. The button has to put a double ante in. There are no blinds in this game. Again, short deck, very simple. The deuces, 3s, 4s, and 5s are not in the deck. Flushes beat full houses. I'm going to go on a limb and say we don't see many flushes, right? That's what it certainly appears to be like. 29 players remain out of a starting field of 68.
Yeah, registration should be closed now as the blinds just go up.
So let me ask you, what
Cannot
hand do you
rebuy
like better
anymore.
starting with, since connecting hands are so important? Jack 10 suited or like ace king off?
I mean, ace king is still definitely the hand you'd want, but Jack 10 suited is probably about they both play pretty well post flop, I would say. Jack 10 suited obviously can make more kind of semi bluffs, but you would want ace king instead because at least pre-flop,
It
because
just runs hotter.
well, you don't want to be in a situation where you have ace, queens against Jack 10 suited hypothetically.
How
all
about
in
big
pre-flop.
pairs? I mean, how do big pairs play in this game?
Big pairs are still, ace is still the best hand by far, but doesn't have as much of an edge if you get all in pre-flop in general. But they're hard to get pocket kings and aces. Queens actually is a tough hand
Following
to
your
play
lead.
post-flop a little bit because ace or king's going to come so much more often, and if your opponent has that, well, you only got 2 outs. So queens, you can see, plays kind of more of a pre-flop equity advantage hand where it kind of just gets shoved in a lot.
By the way, forgive me if I ask you a question that you don't know the answer to. Feel free to say it. I know you're just learning this game as well. I know in No Limit Hold'em, if you don't start with a pair, you flop a pair about 1 in 3 times. Do you know how often you flop a pair here?
I'm going to 100%.
I would say probably 50, at least probably 45%, 50%.
I don't know the answers to that. Yeah.
Clearly more often, obviously, but
So pocket kings is probably going to raise because there's only one person to act behind him, and he cannot depend on silver to raise it for him. So he wants to kind of build that pot, get players to attack. Now in short deck, you do want to raise it up a bit more pre-flop because people, have good equity to call against you. So queen 10, not that great of a hand in this spot. So I like the laydown out of position.
I imagine because flushes are so much more difficult to make anyway, while having suited cards in No Limit Hold'em, traditional Hold'em, gives you a few percentage points edge. Here, it's probably really minimal.
Yeah, I mean,
It looks prettier and it makes you feel better, but
I mean, it's still important to be suited if you had a choice.
right, I'd rather be suited than not be suited, but
Yeah, I would say, king queen offsuit and king queen suited play very similarly.
eights here for Chung, jacks for Sondheimer. So after picking up kings, he picks up jacks.
Yeah, jacks is also one of those tricky hands to play. I've seen a lot of players kind of just on the fence on what's the best way to play it. Is it to raise? Is it to limp? He's just going to shove all in and just try to take, the equity of the hand. And I think this is a fine play looking at the stacks behind him.
Ooh, Juan picks up ace-king.
And ace-king is actually ahead of pocket jacks.
Well, listen, everybody hates jacks when the deuces, the 3s, the 4s, or 5s are in the game. I can't imagine jacks when they're not in the game.
Yeah, so this is going to be a slight advantage for ace-king in short
You
deck.
should say you feel unlucky.
Do we know what the percentages
I
are?
actually do.
I think it's
You have
about
to be-
55-45 roughly, but could be even closer. There's the ace on the flop.
You're both right. Feels good.
Not yet.
6
Oh, don't jinx
So
me.
far, yeah, I tried to.
Okay, now you can jinx me. If you
Jack.
Oh, look at that. And it's like you call for it, you're still drawing dead.
Oh, I went.
Ask and you shall receive.
Three
Right.
kings.
Don't waste it on that when you don't need
your
it.
face that they land in John's stack. Give it a go. How much?
302.
I mean, at least that was a less painful way. If it was reversed and the flop came out ace, 6, jack, and then it came running 6 ace, that would have been far worse, I guess.
And then everyone just goes short deck, and then everyone's like laughing.
Yep, full house over full house there. And look at that. It was just about 6 minutes ago that John Juanda was calling out saying, can I rebuy still? And now he's got 600,000 chips. Yeah, I can only, I'm assuming, and I saw you laugh, I'm assuming that 43X in the chat is just trolling. Yeah. If not, you're overthinking it, my man. Either way, kudos to you. Sondheimer with ace-10, Juanda with ace-jack, Chung with jacks. Well, so far that seems to be the de facto thing with jacks. You know what? I don't know what to do with this. I'm just going to shove.
Yeah, you want to just play the equity it has pre-flop because it doesn't play well post-flop. Well, just queen, king, or ace on a flop is disastrous for you.
I mean, might you just play it, though, as a limp and play it kind of passively and conservatively and disguise the strength of your holding? When you flop a set, awesome. When you don't, you just get away from it.
I think jacks is superior to shove here, especially on the dealer button.
Okay.
It's just, you're short enough. The antes are so big. I think Juanda might end up calling here potentially. Depends on if his opponent will shove hands like Jack 10 suited, Queen Jack, King Jacks, Ace 10.
Have multiple choice here.
It wouldn't surprise me if he makes this call.
Well, I mean, if you're going to get called by worse, if you're going to get called by Ace Jack here, then obviously it's brilliant.
We don't have much choice in our life.
Yep. Okay. If
He makes the call. Ace Jack versus Jacks.
And the thing is, he's not that far behind. Oh no, assuming no aces were folded, I believe one was. But let's assume no aces were folded. I believe it's about a 40-60.
Not really?
Yeah, it's very close. So that's why the equities run so close, and you should be calling here with ace jack, especially if you can be ahead.
Okay.
But I do believe one ace was folded, ace 10 specifically.
Yeah, ace 10.
6.
2 outs. And he can now hit a
Yeah.
10, but not a heart.
350.
So this is a game where there's going to be a lot of small edges, but if you pass up all the small edges, you're going to get crushed, I think, because the antes are so large, and you know, small equity edges are important when the antes are large because now you're kind of getting a lot of kickback.
I guess I had a choice, but I chose wrong.
And it's funny, a lot of times when I'm covering a no-limit hold'em match or a game that I'm very familiar with, I'll ask questions that I think the audience wants to know the answer to. Here, I'm legitimately asking you questions because I don't know. I'm trying to learn.
I mean, we've got many, many, many hours of short deck. We'll all be watching together.
This is great.
Yeah, we can see a lot of different styles because, you know, players like Sondheimer, this is the first time I've seen him play short deck at a Triton series. So I'm sure he's learning, and he's doing pretty well, obviously, to a million. I spoke to Max Silver. He said, I'm coming out to try to play the short deck. His main reason is to play the short deck. And he told me he doesn't have much experience playing short deck tournaments, but he feels like the strategy he's developed is going to work pretty well. But, you know, then again, it might be, it might not. We'll see. It's going to be cool to watch.
Yeah, I watched the Triton Poker interview with Tom Dwan, where he talked about short deck, and he was talking about how, you know, he's been playing this game for 3 years, and he said, people are starting to figure it out. He goes, 3 years ago, he goes, it was a beautiful thing, because nobody knew what they were doing, and I was 1 or 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
I got called by Leon. I had the best hand.
But I can tell you, while short deck is getting very, very popular, definitely seems like it's very... All the footage you're watching is tournament short deck.
What's best hand in that game? You know?
Cash game short deck plays very differently.
I fold. No, I think I'm not even sure if I was the favorite. I had
like Jack 9 or something?
I had ace 8 suited, and he had
Ace King versus
9-10
Queens.
offsuit.
I think.
Are these guys too deep to get it all in, or no?
He's favored for sure.
Huh?
No, they're not
Offsuit,
too
he's
deep
favored.
to
No,
get it all.
he was offsuit. I was suited.
Yeah, but
I like how you laugh at me like, oh, you silly, silly boy.
So it's like
You don't know anything.
This probably will go limp shove is my guess, unless Silver has a different strategy. But generally speaking, from the hands previously, limp shoving seems to be the best play here, and he agrees.
There we go. We're gonna have a 1.2 million chip pot.
Yeah, now you understand how Sondheimer has 2 million chips, right? Like we just got a million chip pot all of a sudden.
Classic.
Yeah, when Joe and I were covering it for, I mean, it was like 12 hands. We were just, it was amazing because nobody at the table had more than 200,000 except him, and he had 2 million.
And you think Queen's is ahead? I think Ace King is slightly ahead here.
Yeah.
Assuming no dead cards, and here comes the King. Silver needs the Queen.
Backdoor flush.
Man, pairs stink in this game.
River is.
Yep, River Ace, but you didn't really need it.
How much you got? I got
So Max Silver,
19.
you are eliminated.
I don't know if we can still rebuy. We are up to 70 now.
Yeah, I think Snap Rebuy app is gone. Registration, I believe, is closed. There's a chance you can get in, though. I'm not saying it's 100% closed. It's about 90% chance it's closed.
Okay.
We'll find out soon.
Maybe it was closed, but just not for John Juanda because they really wanted him to stay in the tournament. Maybe that was it. By the way, if you're ever playing poker and registration is closed for everybody except you, you're the spot. Just so you know.
It felt good as long as there were no stacks around that could hurt me. Things change quickly.
Okay, so
Yeah, it does.
in my very short sample size, I've learned
Don't want
Ace
to
King
read
is the
one.
nuts in this game,
Then you have
and
600K.
Queens and lower are
No, I
all
didn't
junk.
want to
I mean, Queens
rebuy,
is
but
still a
I
very good
wouldn't
hand, but
mind
like,
it,
You were ready.
you know,
Queens
I
and
would
Jacks,
prefer not to rebuy.
like I said, play very similarly in a sense that all in pre-flop equity, just kind of like get it in knowing you got good
I was
equity,
willing
close
to
your
rebuy,
eyes.
but I didn't want to rebuy.
Well, I hate to lose Max Silver, but you know what? Instead of him, we get Isaac Haxton. Look at that. That's fun.
Now, Isaac Haxton has a lot more experience than a lot of these new guys like Sondheimer and Juanda, who have less experience playing. Isaac Haxton has some final tables in short deck at the Triton series so far in previous series, so I definitely think he's very talented.
So Juanda, instead of trying the limp shove route, he just open shoves.
Okay. Somebody's gonna ask anyway.
I think you can play a mixed strategy of open shoving here of King Queen or limping. I would say with his stack, 40-something antes, a lot of people do actually just limp, but I don't think shoving is a bad play at all.
369.
What kind of hands are you
Small
calling
number.
a 40 anti-shove with?
I mean, pretty much all the hands you expect, like Ace Queen plus, Ace King
Okay.
plus.
You wouldn't call with Jack 10 suited, though.
I don't think. I mean, some players would call with Jack 10 suited, and it's pretty much kind of like a high variance play.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think you need
What do you
to.
got, buddy?
It kind of depends on how many players are left to act
Okay.
and whether you
I got
want to
you beat.
embrace the variance or not. And
Yes.
I definitely think if you had a choice between being a more variance-oriented player or not, in this game, it's going to be to your benefit to have more variance. Even though, of course, you can be downswing a lot more or upswing a lot more, but I think you're going to create a little bit more edge for yourself. So all in here for pocket kings. And you're going to see plays like this because they will also shove hands like King Queen here. And they want to... Your shoving range wants to be very balanced. And of course, pocket kings, you're actually one of the few hands you want action in this game.
I mean, that was what I was going to ask you. I mean, by shoving this much,
Bring one.
I mean, he's got what, 65 antes. By shoving 65 antes, he dissuades anybody from calling and just doesn't get the action he wants. Seems like a big shove to somebody who has no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's about your general game plan going into the game. If your general game plan is you don't really like bluff raise pre-flop that much, then you want to put these nutted type hands into your shoving range because he probably is going to shove hands like Ace Jack,
Can you swap with
some
Ben?
King Queen suiteds and stuff like this here, maybe even for the same stack size, Ace Queens, so that people can't just like play more correctly against you, I suppose.
How much is first prize in that tournament?
So pocket tens here, I think for this sizing should be a fold. It just seems.
I was going to say,
too
what are
much.
you hoping you're up against if you have tens?
Yeah, I would actually call it a bit of a mistake if he ends up calling here.
Based on what you're telling me, is tens a dog against king queen?
Yes, it should be.
So then, yeah, I mean, what are you just hoping your opponent's shoving nines?
Yeah, and in this game, you know, the antes are large, so it's okay if you're slightly a dog, because the antes, especially if people over limp and stuff, they make up for the little bit of percentage edge you're behind. That's why you see people like, you know, they raise, when shove comes, they still call even though they know they're beat, because they know they're like 38% to 62 or something like that, 40,
Right.
60s, because all the dead money kind of makes up for the 12% that you're behind.
Well, of course. I mean, you know, going back to any game like that, if you're folding when you are getting the correct odds to call, even if you're behind, you're basically giving your opponent money. So, Sklarek calling with king 10. Sondheimer calls with ace 6 suited. Haxton in there with king jack. In fact, he raises.
So you see here, Haxton's actually shoving king jack suited, and if he's shoving king jack suited, you know, you look back at the pocket kings in the previous hand, you can see how it makes a lot of sense to actually shove pocket kings if you're going to shove hands like king jack suited,
Right.
because you want to protect yourself. You don't want someone to be like, well, Haxton, whenever he shoves here for 70 antes, only has king jack suited, so I can always call him with ace jack, right? Now he's got to be fair. Oh man, I might be up against kings and ace king and stuff like that. So very, it's about protecting yourself, I suppose, in these shove spots.
Thanks for joining us here. We are live from the Maestral Resort and Casino in Montenegro. I'm David Tuckman, Randy Liu alongside me here for event number 3, the 100K buy-in short deck Hold'em tournament. I suppose you call it is short deck. If you're new to short deck, by the way, very simply, there are no deuces, threes, fours, or fives. Flushes are better than full houses, and an ace can be high or low. It can be low when used for straight, so it can be a 5 in the ace 6, 7, 8, 9 straight range. There are no blinds. Everybody antes. The button puts a double ante in.
On the structure sheet, and she said, like,
If you have any questions for us, of course, you can
7
ask in
for
the
sure,
chat.
but
Or you can
like
always
maybe
tweet us.
6.
Use the
I mean, there's, I
hashtag
guess, no official
Triton Poker,
something, mainly 6, 10.
and you can tweet us at NanoNoko, at Tuck on Sports. Stapes will be joining us a little later
That
on.
should definitely be the case, yeah.
And seems like they are still a little bit undecided too on what to do if like the button bust up. Yeah?
I mean,
Like
frankly,
what?
it's refreshing to watch players of this ilk
Like if the guy that would have been
Not-
the button bust out.
play a game they haven't figured out, so to speak. You know? I mean, people have
That's
been
what I
in the
thought,
lab
like
so
they-
for
they
No
say
Limit
that
Hold'em for a while now.
Can be the button.
And it's like, oh,
yeah.
well, I've got my push shove charts.
I
I
was
know
trying
this,
to
you know, I've
tell
got all
them
this, I've got this
that's
data,
not
you know. People argue it's been
the
solved,
status
so to
quo.
speak, right? It's kind of fun, though, like watch a game and watch people kind of figure this out on the fly. Chung with ace king picks that up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch, actually, because
Yes.
every single series so far that's been streamed on the Triton Super High Roller Series, the short deck strategy has actually been, I would say, changing a little bit every series. So I think people are kind of going,
Guy to your
you
left
see more
gets the button,
tournaments,
feels like
and
the
they're kind of adjusting their strategies accordingly. You know, the very first
There is
time this
no
happened, I
button
think
guy,
people
right?
just kind of
Yeah.
played it straight up
Hey,
without
the
any
button can
tournament
stay there
considerations.
forever.
How would you had mentioned that the short deck cash game is very different than a tournament. In what regard?
Well, the main reason is that you play a lot deeper, potentially. So players are, you're going to see a lot more post-flop, I would think.
Because you're playing, what, thousands of antes deep?
Not thousands of antes, but like 100 ante, 150, 200, 300, you know. Plays very differently than 30 ante. 30 ante, 40 ante, just kind of like shoving all in, taking the equities.
Right.
You know, you can't really like induce someone, things like that.
I want to play this game thousands of antes deep. But the ante's going to be like a dime.
So there's a bunch of limps in front of him. Sondheimer is going to raise. You know, if Chung wasn't as deep, there's a chance he actually would have just shoved pre-flop. But now,
What does he do now?
well, Chung here, King Queen suited. I imagine he's going to call here. I would like to see him call. It's a pretty good hand.
Queen Jack feels like it would be a very good hand. I mean, it can make a lot of straights.
Yeah, Queen Jack suited is not bad either. King Queen suited here. The thing is, like, sure, you can be dominated here sometimes. Looks like.
And I think he announced raise.
Wow, I have never seen this play.
So the limp re-raise, but not the shove.
This is a very small re-raise, but I've never seen this.
He's showing an enormous amount of strength, right? He looks very strong.
Yeah,
I assume.
everyone who's re-raise 3-bet not all in has had aces in the past, like 100%. So this is pretty cool. I like to see this different strategy. The limp re-raise looks so strong. Sondheimer's getting a good price, but he's got ace-jack, which is not a good hand compared to a 3-bet.
No, if you're up against ace-king right here, you're up against aces, you're up against kings, you're not doing very well. Obviously, we can see that Sondheimer is doing much better than that. It's 175 to call. The pot's 415. Can you just call if you're goose?
That's good enough, thank you.
Hot water.
It's definitely possible. It would be better to have a hand like 10-9 suited, Jack 10, you know, just ace
Because you
jack.
could be dominated.
Correct. Ace Jack. He's going to lay it down. That is a very cool play. I would love to see this guy play
No, you
some more.
stop it.
Stop it. You got a chip.
Stop having that that stack. It was the perfect jam against your stack hand.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I would say that
Yeah,
actually
against
limp
mine
raising
was
is
perfect.
not the common play here because
Is
you
that
get
perfect jam against mine?
You-
or-
Yours and
you might
against
just
him
fold
and
your
okay.
equity.
Okay, yeah. But he was in there.
Yeah.
He ruined your plan. Oh,
I liked him a lot with
yeah,
his
that's fine.
500k
But I
stack
mean the
round.
hot water. Can you? Yes. 1 second. Thank you.
So on to a 10-9 suited. How's that hand?
10-9 suited is a pretty reasonable hand.
Call.
That's why he's trying to see a flop here. So we've got a bunch of limps, 1-8 left in deck.
About 250, 260. I mean 350, 360.
Four-way action to the flop. 72,000 in there. Ace, Jack, 10. Got a pair of aces for Haxton, a pair of aces for Chung.
Check.
Neither one's going to love their kicker. Nobody has spades. Chung has the 8 of spades. That's it.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
Haxton is going to bet some chips. He knows it's pretty drawy. Wants to charge those hands like Queen Jack, King 10.
How much? 18.
Chung's got Ace 8. You might be thinking, does Haxton raise Ace Jack pre-flop on the dealer button or like King Queen when it's limp check to him? He's not really sure, so he just lays it down. And Haxton going to win that pot.
Nice little pot there. The nice thing about that also is he bet 18,000 into 72,000 and took it down, getting a great price. It's always nice to risk 25% of the pot size and win the entire pot. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We are here for the next 10 days or so. This is event 3 in Montenegro.
All in.
Triton's next stop, London, right, in July?
Yeah, I believe that's the rumor right now,
The rumor.
but
Love
it
it.
should be happening.
I like it. Sklark all in for 513,000 with Jack 10. Jungle 2020 says, I have a man crush on Haxton. We understand.
Seems like we wait until we are 18.
Oh, finish? Okay.
Sklark's got queens under the gun.
All in.
And he's all in. Just the open shove. Not messing around.
I
How
can
much,
remember how many
did
runners
you,
we had.
how much did you go all in for? How much do you have?
Last round?
Yeah, 600.
600?
Was it like
Something like that.
69?
Okay.
Juan only has 313 behind.
575.
Yeah.
He has certainly shown a willingness to gamble.
8 paid here.
I think this would be a bit loose. He only really crushes Jack 10, so I like to fold.
Yeah.
Yep,
How much
loose
you have?
moose.
And this should be too much for 10-9 suited.
Oh, okay.
Chong is basically
did you
just
do it?
thinking, how often does he do this with a pair?
Is that enough?
Because that's what he doesn't want to see. Against Ace King, he'd be in okay shape on a gamble.
Room number for what? Okay. Room
But even here, I mean,
Hold on.
as opposed to
Wait, what's-
normal hold'em with a full deck, he's not in that bad shape, is he?
Yeah.
Against pocket queens,
you.
I'm not sure if the equity is in this spot, but definitely not that great. Maybe like, I'll guess, like 25%, 28%, I don't know.
So somewhere between really bad and not that great.
Yeah, pretty good laydown.
I take the over on 28%. I have no idea what it is,
I
but
don't think so, but you might be right. I'm
I
not
will
sure.
defer to you. I have no idea, but it feels like it should be like 34%. But if it was 22, I'd be like, yeah, sure, okay, makes sense. I have no idea. I'm gonna get out my trusty calculator and start doing the math.
Don't think a calculator is going to help.
Okay, well, I'm gonna develop a formula and then I'll take out my trusty calculator. How's that? Goose under the gun with the 8-7 suited. Now, is this, from a traditional standpoint, is this just a fold, you think?
All in.
I think if you can get some free flops, you should try to.
At this table, nobody's giving free flops. Seemingly every hand being raised. Juanda's all in. Sklark's got ace queen.
Is that 3 or? Yeah.
This is only about a 40 ante shove.
Yeah,
Who asked how
ace
much
jack's
you?
pretty standard to almost always shove 40 antes with ace jack.
Well, then if that is, then Sklark's got to be calling with ace
He
queen.
asked before his turn.
All in.
And Sklark's all in. Sondheimer, in all likelihood, going to be all out, and we'll have an ace jack versus ace queen. Juan, this tournament life on the line.
100.
But if he can see his opponent's cards, then he'd be getting the right price.
I need to
But
get
obviously
lucky.
he doesn't know.
That's why.
Do I
Let's
need
get
the
fold.
ace or the jack?
Yeah, I mean, if one person has kings and the other guy has
Yeah.
ace queen, then he's
That's why I.
not
folded.
loving it,
He asked
right?
how much you got. So I
Yeah.
almost go with that.
So 666,000 in there.
Yeah.
We're down to 19. We're flying.
What did you have?
Are we going to end this tournament tonight?
Channel.
Is that the goal?
The goal is to play a few more hours, I believe.
Oh, that's not a good one. Unless it comes like a
Spades.
7 of spades.
Juanda might be out of this tournament.
Yeah.
Space there below.
Oh, there's a
Oh.
spade, though, and a
It's
jack.
short
That's
deck.
not the worst card in the wall.
That is not the worst card in the world at all.
Either. Ah,
Two pair for no good.
Yeah. Got a few more outs there on the turn, but unfortunately for John Juanda, it was not to be. He is out. Sklark adds 345,000 to his stack as he approaches the 1 million mark, and we are now down to, I think, 18 players. This game is insane. I love it.
Yeah, it's... You gotta just get all in with good well, as much equity as you can. Close your eyes, look up. Do I still have chips in front of me? And really, you're just never safe in this game. Unless you have like 1,000 antes.
It's great. I mean, the inner gamble in you just gets to have fun.
so there's a chance we'll balance out some tables.
Thank you, Mr. Battle of Wits. Mr. Battle of Wits is going to build a spreadsheet for us. We're looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I'm going to trust a spreadsheet from a Twitch chat strategist.
You need to be more trusting, okay, Randy? I think it's ridiculous that you wouldn't trust. His name is Mr. Battle of Wits, and by the way, Critical Thinker here is for it too, okay?
I see. Good luck.
I have no problem with that.
I'm sure Isaac Haxton would love to use that spreadsheet from Twitch chat. Paul Flaw. Love this guy. Super chatty. He's got moved to the table.
Sklark's got jacks. Sondheimer with 9s.
So the thing is, he's looking at Sondheimer's stack and sees how deep he is. That's why he's not going to just open shove the jacks and just limp here.
I don't hate limping with jacks. Like it feels like you kind of disguise the strength that you're holding, and you know when you do flop a set, which will be slightly more often than it would be in a normal hold'em game, you're going to get paid.
Top boat.
Case in point. Now obviously, 2 8s out there. Nobody has an 8, but you know I don't think anybody puts Sklark on jacks full right now.
So he is going to bet. Yep, should be betting.
Paul Fawaz has an open-ended straight draw, which obviously we can see is drawing extremely slim. The straight draw is not good. He can catch running clubs.
And don't expect Paul Flaw to fold this hand. Open and straight draws are very strong in this game. I mean, how often does the opponent actually have pocket jacks? Looks like he's going for a check raise. Or no, check call, excuse me.
There's like a mosquito or something flying around in this room. Ace of clubs, that's going to get interesting now. So now Paul Flaw actually has some more equity. He can catch a club to win this. Again, flushes beat full houses.
Check.
Goes check, check. Makes sense to be a little bit worried about the flush game there. Little 10. I don't think it has any showdown value, really.
At this point, yeah, I mean, you probably think Sklark has minimum, like, trip 8s, right?
Not minimum,
maybe ace
but
jack.
like king 10 type, just bluffs. So that's why you see Paul Flaw turning his hand into a bluff. He knows the 10 is never good for showdown. He needs to bet to win this pot.
And Sklark's hand is just under rep too much. He can't fold.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to fold his hand because he could beat worse value bets. Even a hand like ace 8, you know.
Call.
He makes the call.
Wow, full house.
Yeah, he didn't expect to see the full house. Hoping to bluff off like a naked ace, some jacks.
Good call on the floor.
Paul's thinking, yeah, good call with my straight draw against your full house.
So still doing that.
Yeah, Paul does. He always seems to have a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's one of the, obviously, he is the Triton co-fan, but he's super friendly. He's always super chatty, and he plays a good game, super solid. Has had some deep runs here in Triton Poker Series. And he loves short deck, long deck. And I don't think I've ever seen him play a PLO tournament, but he's created one, so that should be fun to see.
Yeah, they asked him earlier on. They said, "Are you going to play?" And he goes, "I have to. I'm the host."
Yeah, so it seems like he doesn't play it that much, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, PLO's easy. If you know how to play Hold'em, it's like 2 Hold'em hands, right? How hard could it be?
Okay. Johnny Billy.
Ante's 8,000.
Thank you.
Thank you.
要粒子彈。有粒子彈。
Keep the pot small and just limp here. I think that's a good strategy against a player who's got more experience than you post-flop in this game.
The one thing that's fun about this, while a lot of these players don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the specific game yet, they all know tournament theory and poker theory. And they understand how to use chip stacks and how to use position. And that's why sometimes you'll see, a lot of times at the World Series, you'll see somebody who's a really good poker player, win a bracelet in an event they have no experience in. And you go, how did they do that? And they go, well, they know poker. And they know tournament poker. They know how to leverage stacks. They understand those aspects of the game. And you see here Haxton using his position, putting a lot of pressure on the limper.
Yeah, he expects Sondheimer to actually limp a very wide range in the cutoff. This is most similar to small blind versus big blind. So that's why he opted to kind of try to punish with Jack-9. Didn't work. And both players actually with a marginal piece here.
A pair of queens and a gut shot for Goose. Haxton with a pair of 9s and a gut shot.
I think Haxton could consider betting here. He could also check. You can see it going both ways. Betting a flop is a bit of a semi-bluff, trying to get some, you know, queen 10 hands maybe to fold, but he might have to put in more than one bet to do that. So Haxton is thinking, should he bet or check it back? Did raise pre-flop, so there is more to fight for in the middle. So Haxton is going to reach for chips and bet 120,000 on a semi-bluff.
I assume Sondheimer should be calling at least one street.
I would like to see him call. No, he's got a draw to a very good straight. Got trip draw. I mean, there's a chance he folds, but if he's folding this hand on this board, he's kind of folding too much.
Right, makes sense. He does make the call. Pot is now over 400,000 chips. Oh, and look at that. 2 pair here for Haxton. Goose makes the straight. Can't beat ace 10. But besides that, he's got it.
So action is now on Haxton. Bottom 2 pair.
And is he betting again?
He's thinking about it. I don't think he's bad. He just grabbed some chips to shuffle.
Okay. Looking at exactly how many he had left. I would assume with bottom 2 pair on a board like this, if you're betting this, is it a bluff?
Yeah, I would say it's a bluff, usually. I mean, you're trying to bluff. If you're trying to bluff off like Queen Jack.
And he checks. River's the 8. That changes nothing.
So Sondheimer, it is pretty hard for him to get called by worse, I imagine.
I mean, can he get called by a set? Can he get called by King Queen? I mean, if you're not betting this, though, it's going to be hard to bluff ever, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some hands he can have here that are bluffs, and I guess Ace Queen and Ace Jack would make the most sense, assuming the Ace Queen didn't shove in pre-flop. These hands probably would want to bet as a bluff. So he's going to go for a check, try to trap. Doesn't work.
Like Ace Jack with a backdoor flush draw. Would kind of be a cool hand to bluff with, right?
I think that's a hand you would want to bluff with, actually. Just depends on whether he thinks maybe Haxton will try to do a delayed bet bluff. Although I do think if Haxton was going to bluff on that 4 straight, he'd lean a little bit more towards on the turn than on by checking back down on the river.
Right.
Attention leaders, if you start with a shuffle, please complete the hand you're on. Otherwise, you can send your players on a 15-minute break. Once again, players, this is going to be the last break for today. We're going to come back and play the last 3 levels for the day.
Call.
現在呢個咧，你會休息15分鐘，之後我哋會再完成。
Players are going to go on a break after this hand. We will as well, but don't go anywhere. This break will only last about 15 minutes, and then we'll be back for more action for Montenegro. Sklarek with 10s. Sondheimer wants to play as Jack 7. Haxton with the Ace King. Almost definitely all in here, I would imagine, from what I've seen. My vast experience of short deck tells me he's all in. I'm right. Paul Foy gets out of the way. Sklarek has 10s. It's not a huge shove, though, and he's getting a pretty decent price. It's going to get a count from Haxton, and we can tell you that it's about 417,000 back over to Sklarek. Pot is 489. So it's getting an okay price. There's about 75,000 in dead money in the pot right now.
I think he should strongly consider folding because tens isn't that great of a hand in this spot, and also because Sondheimer behind him has him covered.
Like Jacks plus, you'd call, though, I assume?
Jacks, I don't even know if you should be calling Jacks. It's,
Okay.
It's close.
Just not getting quite a good enough price. Nonetheless, though, Ike Axton takes that one down. He's up to about 500,000 chips. Under 20 remain here in the in event number 3, the short deck event in Montenegro. Of course, Randy Liu, David Tuckman here. Players going on a short break. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, short deck is definitely a very different game. You know, with those low cards out, a lot of all-in situations will happen. You got to withstand the variance. It's a really cool game to watch and learn. I recommend you guys trying. I hope you guys want to learn with us. Hope you guys enjoy. We're going to continue playing and show you guys some highlights. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Stefan, welcome to Triton Poker Series Montenegro. How's it going?
All right. Glad to be here. Having good times.
Now, you started off the year, I would say, with a bang looking at it. You had 3 final tables in the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure. Did that turn out to be a good trip for you?
Well, I guess I was pretty even-ish. I had plenty of buy-ins too, and I didn't get one of those tournaments through. It was like 2 unfortunate bust-outs. The 100K that I cashed was the luckiest cash in the world. I didn't get anything going, just people busted before me somehow.
How frustrating is it to get so close to reach those final tables and not really get in, not the top 3 spots?
Well, if you could read the messages in my phone, there was lots of crying involved for one day, and then it's over, and you start again.
And then since then, I haven't really seen too much of you on the live tournament scene. What happened since the PTA?
Well, I just decided against traveling. There was the option to go to Vegas for the USPO. I decided against. Then there was the option to go to Rio for the party poker event. I decided against that. I was traveling 3 weeks Cambodia with my girlfriend. I hung out in Austria mainly, and yeah, just coming from another nice week of vacation with my brother in Italy. So now I'm here. Look, I was looking forward to that spot.
It's interesting that you missed the US Poker Open because, of course, you're a former poker master. Was that a tough choice?
Not really. It's like the events are good, but it's flying over. It's like it's kind of stressful. I will be in Vegas often enough that year. I just didn't feel it like I should be going.
And you finished 5th in the main event last year here. Talk through what happened because you got really close.
Yeah, I had a great time last year. The year before already too. And yeah, I had a sick day too, just getting the big heater, having the setups my way, and so I went into the final table chip leading. And yeah, that one didn't go too well, losing a big flip to Mikita, like a little like today, losing the small pots, but it was all fine. I finished 5th, so I should be happy. Definitely not on the day when I bust, but the next day. It was a good trip every time I was here so far.
And finally, remind us, what is it that sets the Triton Poker Series apart from the other series that you play in?
It's definitely the atmosphere. It feels so casual. It feels like vacation. My best example is probably that I talked with my girlfriend about which poker trips she wants to join this year, and she was like, "We definitely have to go back to Montenegro." So I guess you can't get a better recommendation than that.
I'm going to squeeze another final question in. I did see you having breakfast this morning with your other half. Is their presence a hindrance or a help?
It's a mix. Depends on how it goes. If it goes well, it's great. If it goes bad, let's see. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, it's definitely great to have her here.
Let's hope it goes good.
I hope so too.
Thanks for joining, Stefan.
Thank you.
Bryn Kenny, how's life?
Chilling, can't complain. Life's very good.
We're back on the Triton Poker Series kind of journey. Talk us through Jeju a little bit, because you had a runner-up finish, you had a 4th place finish. Some of us look at that from the outside in and think, wow, that's the tough beat, but a lot of money as well. How do you feel?
I mean, I think I played really exceptional in both the tournaments. So the thing is, can't really get stuck on what result you get, more just how you play. And I feel like I should have won both the tournaments, but it doesn't happen sometimes like that for the cards. So, just feeling great. Life is good, chilling.
What is it like, though? You're in there, you're muscling it up with Timothy Adams, like someone you've been battling with for decades, and that card hits, you're out. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's the worst. I hate to lose, especially when you make it to the final 2 and then lose. But I mean, you have to just take it. Doesn't really matter how you feel. You have to get past that emotion and just be happy about it.
And the season started off with a crack at the best it could be with the win in the Aussie Millions. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, that was sick. Such a fun tournament. Since it's just the one big tournament a year they have there, everyone has so much fun. So it's just a good laugh. Even the people when they were busting out were saying how they had a great time playing too. It was fun to make a deep run in that and win a final table without knocking anyone out at the final table, which must be a record.
I was going to say, you don't get that very often, right?
Yeah, show me another one where someone won the tournament when they didn't knock anyone out at the final table.
Did that take the shine off it a little bit for you, or was you like, I don't give a fuck, I just want the money?
No, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I mean, the thing is, I was happy to play for it. I wasn't really getting any cards anyway, so I was holding my own in that one with small stack to start, with no cards really. Other guys were getting cards, so they and the blinds were big, so playing for a bit. So if they want to give you the trophy and a little bit extra, I just couldn't say no.
Are you doing anything different this year? Because last time I spoke to you, you just come out of a downswing. Now you're winning again. Are you doing anything different, or is it just a luck of the cards?
No, I mean, I feel good, enjoying myself. So I mean, maybe that correlates into enjoying life and into when you're playing, actually just want to be there and happy. I mean, in theory, I want to be healthier and do healthier things, but it's not like I follow that path necessarily.
Well, you did once for a short while, so you can get back on that horse.
I mean, I'm doing much better than I used to do anyway, so still, it's not bad, but I'd always like to do better.
So what are you now, in the top 5 of the all-time money list? I know that's important to you. Maybe the health kick is the one that's going to get you up there, Bryn.
Yeah, I'm number 6 now, so almost in the top 5. Who cares about top? We'll talk about it when I'm number 1.
And finally, tell us what makes this Triton Poker Series so special and brings you out every occasion.
Yeah, it's just a good, fun time, good laughs, high stakes, few days, good places, really well ran, really, yeah, just everything about it I really like.
You're looking forward to the main event, so we're going to see you playing some short deck?
Nah, I'm just going to play the no limits, and to be honest, I'm disappointed that they don't have a 2 million Hong Kong buy-in, but somehow I still showed up, even low stakes.
Low stakes on the Triton Poker Series. You heard this here first off Bryn Kenny. Thanks for joining us, Bryn. Timothy Adams, champion Timothy Adams. How does that sound?
Yeah, it was great. In Korea, it was amazing, and I think it took a while for it to sink in, but it's finally sunk in. Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at your record in 2018, and you were like second, third, fourth, fifth, second, third, fourth, fifth. How does it feel to be coming that close, earning some decent money, but not kind of like racking up the records?
Yeah, I think it's just like, it's just the variance kind of thing where you're 3 or 4-handed or you're heads up and you're just not winning the critical pots. And then when you do win, you usually win the critical pots. And I think that's what it usually comes down to.
And talk to me a little bit about Jeju. You were sick, right, leading up to the main event?
Yeah, I was actually really ill. Like I was like bedridden the day before the tournament. I had a really high fever. And I was just eating pho for like 4 days straight. And the guys were kind of making fun of me about it. But yeah, I wasn't feeling well. And yeah, it kind of maybe even helped because I was kind of like in the zone a little bit because I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't, be very productive. All I could do was play poker. But yeah, it was amazing. Jeju went, as good as it possibly could have, obviously.
And after you beat Brinkeny, what did you actually do? Like you win a couple of million, and how does it feel? And what did you do straight afterwards?
I think I was still kind of sick, so I was so tired. We went for dinner, a big group of us, and basically went to bed and woke up. And the next day we went to Japan. I actually saw you at the airport. Yeah. And my girlfriend and I, we spent about a week in Japan after we've never been, and we wanted to go, so that's what we did.
And then before you went to Jeju, you actually won in the PCA. You won a tournament, and then you go to Jeju, you win a big one, the biggest one of your life so far. And then you go to EPT Monte Carlo, and you have another insane run. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just a blur. Like, won the 25K one day, and it was a pretty big one, so that felt really good. And then I hopped into the main event, and usually you don't expect that much with the main, and I just built up a stack quick and just went deep, and then I was chip leader going into one of the final days. Yeah, it was an amazing experience, but it was an absolute blur. I was exhausted after, and I was in a really good spot, but at the end of the day, it's tournament poker, and it kind of didn't go my way at the end, and that was it. But it was a really, really cool experience. It was fun. It was totally different than the high rollers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you are one of the hottest poker players in the world right now. Are we going to see another Mikita Badziuski? Are we going to go back to back, Tim?
That is the plan. We'll see. We'll see. I don't really put too much pressure on myself because, I'm playing against amazing people and amazing players. So if I do good, that's great. If I don't, well, as long as I, put my best, if I play my best and stuff like that, and I really am true to that I'll be satisfied with myself at least.
There you are, folks. You want to earn a bit of money, get over to Poker Shares or something, put some money on Timothy Adams to win the Triton Poker Series main event in Montenegro. This is Tim, this is Lee, over out. Mikita, how's life?
Hi, everything great. Just arrived in Montenegro yesterday. Really loving this place. So, yeah, happy for, looking forward for the whole festival.
Where the year started off at the PCA, then you went to Jeju, then you went to Monte Carlo. Looking at the Hendon Mob results, it looks like the PCA was good, Jeju not so good, Monte Carlo so-so. How's it been for you this year?
In terms of tournament results, it's not been that good, but.
Hello, my babies. Welcome back. Live from the Maestral Resort and Casino in Montenegro. It is the Triton Super High Roller Series 2019. Event number 3, well underway. The cheap one, the short deck, Ante-Only 100,000 Hong Kong buy-in. 3 tables featured at the moment. Remember, this is an ante-only game. Every player puts in a 10K ante, doubled on the button. That's all you got to do to play a hand. Granted, it is no limit after that. Players getting mic'd up. Sit here at our feature table. Who do we recognize? Leon Shakurnik, I see him. Lots of new faces here, probably not new to Triton. We've got Sam Greenwood at this table, Peter Jetton. Outer table action already underway. Can't wait. Can't wait to be introduced to a bunch of new players here. Commentating on this entire Super High Roller series. Just under 2 weeks worth of action. Now's when I really wish Randy was in here, since he's done commentary on most of these players before. Unfortunately, I can't name check them at this point. This event is a $100,000 buy-in. That's in Hong Kong dollars. About 12K US. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being involved. You can talk to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Triton Poker. You can talk to us on Twitter using the hashtag Triton Poker. Winner for you. I knew I recognized that fella. David Benefield, though, incognito in a hat and glasses. That's not David Benefield. That's Leon Shakurnik. 15 players left out of the 70 who started. That's wild. Lots of action in this game. Lots of casualties already. I believe the re-entry period has officially closed. Oh yeah, a long time ago it closed. Just a couple of levels left to play tonight. King, King 10, the flop. David Benefield, there he is. Looks like he's undercovered. Undercovered? Just undercover. What the hell? Staring intently at that pot. I can't tell if he has cards or not. He does indeed. Well, now he doesn't. Thanks a lot, David. Way to make me look like a real jerk. This pot goes to Shakurnik, owner of the King's Casino in Rosvadov. One of the more colorful characters in the game. That's right, Oliza 99 short deck, big flips. I also agree with you, critical thinker here. Fantastic hair on that dealer on the outer table. Ming Li Chi, under the gun. Lim Sin, ace-9. This is a limping game. Tam Tek Lon. Also in Benefield with ace-queen. Probably not going to let all this limping happen. He's all in for 892,000. That's 96 antes? And that's going to get through. Or 89 antes, excuse me. Total pot for 96 antes. The Asian Kid Juno says, say hi to me on stream. No, I will not. I ain't your monkey boy. I'm not going to dance for you. David Benefield's turn to limp in this time with Queen 9. Shakurnik, Queen 10 suited. That feels like a limping hand to me. And there it is. Oh, no, he didn't limp. Sorry, y'all. That was just his ante being put in. He's making it 95,000. That's a raise and take it pre-flop for Shakurnik, 2 in a row. Benefield under the gun, ace-10. Limps in, Winifred you. Pocket jacks. I was adding an extra I to his name. Pocket tens for Shakurnik. Coming in after the raise of you. Can't do my you bit if I'm alone in the booth. I say you, and then Dave says, I didn't raise. And I'm like, no, you raised. And he's like, I didn't raise. So it's Shakurnik versus you. Not you, him. King, queen, jack. Set of jacks for Winfred. He's the favorite for now, but there appears to be plenty of ways that Shakurnik can win this hand. He's got an open-ended straight draw, which I assume low-end straights are probably considerably worse in this game than they are in Hold'em games. Long deck Hold'em. 8 on the turn. You still way ahead. And he's all in. As Randy described before, I guess this game, a lot of this game is just about winning the pot here and now, since your opponent's always going to have solid equity against you. I think Shakurnik is going to find a fold here, but the all-in is for less than a third of his stack, so I don't know. Josh Siv says, I love this commentator. It makes it far more fun to watch. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I needed that today. I was just stress eating downstairs. I missed some outs in the Hold'em tournament. And just don't know if I'll ever forgive myself. While we wait for Shakurnik to make his decision, Neiman asked, do you think we'll see more of Tony Gaga on? Oh, yeah, I think we will. And his handler told me that maybe, just maybe, we'll get Tony Gaga in the booth.
900,000.
Shakurnik still with a decision. 900,000 is the bet. 1.3 in the middle. Not really getting a great price. Certainly not getting the right price based on a set versus a pair. And Shakurnik makes the correct decision. Lays it down. Poker King Club, probably not to be confused with the King's Casino. What's up, Jungle 2020 in chat? How we doing? King 10 suited for win for you. This seems like a limping hand to me, is it? Yeah. All right. I officially have mastered short deck. Ace King is still a raise, right? 100,000 the raise from Leon the Lionhearted. Ming Li Chi with Ace Jack. Calls the 100K. Tamtak is out. Benefield with 8-6. One of the worst hands you can be dealt in short deck, I think. Shakurnik with one of the best hands, I think. 9-7-6. So a straight draw and a flush draw for you. Flush is much more difficult to make in this version. The deuces, the threes, the fours, and the fives, they're all out of the deck, so that's 4 fewer outs. That's why a flush is worth more than a full house. But it's Ming-Li Chi who leads at this with a total air ball. And action is on you with the flush draw. He's in for 150K. Seems like a fold. There it is. Ming-Li Chi is looking a little rough over there. You misses. Still a favorite in this hand, despite the fact that ace high is out in front. Oh, that wasn't Ming-Li Chi. That was the person in the foreground. Apologies. Ming-Li Chi continues betting at this pot, 200,000. Was Tam Tech. The guy looked like he was about to throw up.
Oh, yeah.
Win for you, all in. Do not think Ming-Li Chi can call. Eliza99 says the silence makes the game feel so businesslike. Yeah, it's pretty late here. Closing in on 11:30 tonight. We've officially been on the air for 11 hours.
Normal. Feel water.
And use all in, gets it done. It's Beer O'Clock wants to know, how does Stapes know all this about short deck? I mean, that's it. That's the entirety of what I know. That's all 5 things I know. 12bet.com, the official partner here of Triton Poker. Check them out if you guys get the chance. Seems like a pretty good time over there. Kurnick under the gun, 10-9. Calls. Ming-Li's in. Tam Tech is in. Benefield is in. Winifred with the worst hand. The worst starting hand in short deck. Jack 6. Jimmy Bluffett. You happy? And you thinks he's playing the 7 deuce game with Jack 6, raises it to 120,000. He's going to get exactly 0 folds. Yeah? 2 calls so far. This game's insane. Nobody folds. I assume we may see a fold from Tam or Benefield. Tam does fold and Benefield folds. So we're going 3 ways to this flop. A lot of soccer talk happening in chat right now. Woof. And your flop is 10, 9, 6, 2 spades. So we've got a pair in the nut flush draw for Ming-Li. 2 pair for Shakurnik. Bottom pair for you. What a game. Unfortunately, this is pre-recorded, so I cannot do a shout-out to Christina Applegate. Sorry, chat. It's right here in my script. Kurnick betting 350,000 with his top pair. Pair and a flush draw. I know flushes are hard to hit in this game. By the way, the field just ticked down to 14 players. I know flushes are hard to hit in this game, but man, I don't know. This still feels like an all-in situation to me. Let's see.
How much?
Just a call, okay? And you, I would imagine, you will be folding. You folds. King on the turn changes nothing about these players' hands. Open-ended with Queen Jack just got there. But Leon is not slowing down. And I guess if flushes are so hard to hit, that might be why Ming decided to just call there. And now Ming decides to move all in. Leon trying to figure out what he could be behind to. He says call. Leon is not behind. He is ahead. Nearly 4 million chip pot. Lots of outs for Ming. Sixes, spades, and aces. Got Tam's attention. The river is a 7. That's a brick. Shakurnik wins.
Thank you.
And he had Ming covered. Ming is out of here.
我想退啊，我冇得入啊。電話。哇，我揸7-8咯。啊，未開牌大咗
Don't forget your phone, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. According to super moderator Jimmy Bluffett, this is Leon's first time playing short deck. Now, he has got a lot of chips. $5.6 million in chips. He's got enough to limp over 250 times. I don't know what else to say about that. Tam raising to 80,000 with King Queen. I would imagine Jack 7 ain't much better than Jack 6. Shakurnik with 8-9. Not even done stacking his chips yet. Slow down. And Tam flops a straight. A pair in the bottom end of the straight draw for Leon. I had a feeling Leon was going to call. He's drawing mighty thin. Leon actually picks up equity there, but the all-in from Tam is not going to call.
Even though I could catch now, full house. One more jack or 9. It's a very bad call.
Tuna Man asking, is ace 6, 7, 8, 9 straight flush higher than 8, 9, 10, jack, queen straight flush? What am I missing? Why is that even a question? Is there ace 6, 7, 8, 9 merchandise in the Triton store? That'd be hilarious. I would buy that t-shirt. Poker G guy says, shut the fuck up about Russia, clown. Yeah. 3 players of this flop. Queen, 9, 10, 2 diamonds. Let's welcome back to the booth, Mr. David Tuckman.
How is the analysis going?
I'm an expert at this.
Yeah, you're killing it?
Killing it can sometimes have a double meaning.
I don't like 18.
No.
I already paid one.
Like if I say, my joke killed,
Okay, next time I change.
that's a good thing.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
But if I say, they killed my joke, that's a bad thing.
That makes sense. Okay, I can get behind that.
So I am killing it. One way or another, I'm either doing great or I'm destroying the game, literally.
Right. I got it. Cool. So we are like flying through this. Over 70 entries. We're down at what, like 16 left?
I think 13.
13? Are we finishing this tournament tonight?
I don't think that's scheduled to go that way. We only have about an hour and a half left on the broadcast day, so I think we're going to stop wherever that is. I doubt we'll be to a winner by then.
Sounds good. Here in Montenegro, I love this stuff. Bumped into good old Dietrich Fast on the way up here.
Did you?
We had a wonderful conversation.
Did you?
Yeah.
Does he want to come in here and air his dirty laundry?
That's not the impression I got.
Okay, good.
I didn't ask him to, though.
Okay.
Hopefully, I did bump into last night Sondheimer and asked him if he wanted to jump in the booth at some point.
And what did he say?
He said he was planning on making all the final tables.
Ah, good
so
answer.
that he couldn't, but he said if he did not make a final table, he'd love to. He covered the 50K last year with me at the World Series, and he was phenomenal. He was a natural.
Yeah.
Next month.
Next month better?
Then
Somebody at the door.
Oh,
Joe's
summer,
going to go
yeah.
let him in.
Still a little cold.
I think it's my food. I probably should have got up myself and done this.
Yes, yeah, we were in the middle.
Anyway, as you can see, the ante is 10,000. The button is a double ante, 20,000.
Yeah.
Joe, you're doing a great job.
It's still nice outside, as long as it's not raining.
Yes, raining is cold and windy.
Oh. Yeah.
Like London.
Like London.
Shrimp dumpling, Joe? Thanks for joining us here. We are here for the Triton Poker Super High Roller Series. We're in beautiful Montenegro at the Maestral Resort and Casino. Again, if you're new to short deck, very easily, no deuces, 3s, 4s, or 5s. It's not a big blind game. Everybody antes. The button puts a double ante out there. Flushes are better than full houses. That's key.
I haven't figured out yet how many antes is the good number of antes.
According to Randy Louie, said 1,000.
Okay.
He said there's no number of safe antes in this game.
Yeah.
You're never safe. But he did say, 30, 40 antes, that's about the short range. That's when you're like, oh, you're a little short.
Well, everyone's pretty short at this table then, I think.
Ace, 10, 8. One thing I have noticed is...
Only Ike is short, but I guess the rest of the table doesn't even have close to 1,000 antes.
What I have noticed is it appears pairs below kings are really bad, it looks like. I'm saying it half joking, but every single time I see somebody having jacks or queens, they appear to kind of go up in flames unless you flop a set. Like if you're not flopping a set, you're just crushed.
But then Randy said showing down a pair is good sometimes.
I mean, sometimes, I mean, here, I mean, Sondheimer's got a pair of aces. That's it. This gentleman here is from the Ukraine. What do you think his name? I went Sklarek. I said the H was silent, but I
think
don't
it's
know.
Burns, Skiblisk.
Yeah, I was between those two. I wasn't sure.
Skliarek. Skliarek.
Skliarek?
Skliarek.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Joe Stapleton, David Tuckman in the booth for you. Thanks for joining us, guys. We've got another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in action, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. Clear your schedule. We're here for the next 10 days. There's a look at Goose. Steven Sondheimer. Heck of a poker player. Chung's going to limp in with the Queen 9. I'm going to go on 11 and say 10-7 offsuit is not that good a hand. He lets it go. Haxton with the 10-8, though. Haxton has final tabled short deck events here at Triton before.
Isaac. So this is a three-way limped pot. And Ike has flopped a gut shot.
Yeah, he's got a gut shot. He's got backdoor clubs.
I don't think you can really count backdoor clubs, especially when there's 3 other clubs showing.
Right.
I mean, how many are there total?
Not many. I mean, you think about it. What? There's no deuces, 3s, 4s, or 5s. So there's only nine clubs.
Total clubs, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out, 1 on board.
All right. The likelihood is that clubs are not going to come.
There's 3 clubs left in the deck, and we'd need 2 of them to hit.
Yeah. By the way, nobody has a pair here. Nobody with a pair. King high is the best hand.
Wow.
Who bets, though? Whoever bets probably wins this one.
He who bets wins, Rodney.
Let's see who wants it. There's 80,000 in there. I don't think you need to bet much either. 25,000, 30,000 will get the job done right now. And there's the bet. Haxton says, you guys don't want this? I'll take it. Sure.
And that's a real small amount.
Yeah, it's a really nice bet. I mean, he bets 25,000 to win 80. You do the math, you realize that this bet doesn't have to work that often for him to turn a profit.
Looks like Triple C here borrowed a shirt from Sam Greenwood. Looks like Greenwood's not the only fan of horizontal stripes. Ike barely containing his excitement. Look, he's about to laugh at everyone. Losers. 10 high. Can hardly believe it.
Yancey B says every hand is 50-50. 10-7 offsuit, just fine. Could be the case. I do not know enough about this game to argue with you. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't argue with you. I don't think any hand is 50-50, though. I don't think it works that way.
You mean exactly 50-50?
You're even really that close. I mean, the equities do run closer than they would in a normal Hold'em game, but...
Except for flips, which run further away, I think.
Right. And I imagine Sondheimer's actually making this play at a limp shove. Ooh. Ace-King versus Ace-King. Might see some fireworks here.
Paul Foy maybe getting caught in the middle.
Yeah, I know 7-6 is kind of a trappy hand in this game. Event number 1, Steve O'Dwyer won himself, I want to say about 500,000 American, right? And then, of course, Bryn Kenny earlier today won 1.4 million US, or 11.2 million. There's the raise. There's the pounce, all in.
Call.
Chung makes the call. It's exciting for a moment until they turn their cards up.
I mean, you're so much less likely to make a flush in this game, so I guess the ace-king versus ace-king atrocities are way less likely to happen.
Yeah. That said,
and we saw that
Goose has 2 live suits, while Chung only has 1.
We saw 2 spades folded also, so, and there it is.
Chop it up. That was fun.
I have a 6.
Man, everyone loves a chop pot, huh?
6 of spades.
Bad fold.
Bad fold.
Bad fold.
Paul's. He's always smiling, having a good time. Max Silver is not still in. We saw him get eliminated earlier on today.
No queens.
Looks like what? Like
No
No, it wasn't
kings
too
is?
fast.
For my heart.
No, I know what you mean.
No, it's like 5 seconds. No
Yeah.
queens.
Oh, it was not like
You needed like 2 seconds to really be worried. It was probably not going to be good news.
Yeah.
But it was slow enough to not
It was like
really bad news.
lots of chop news.
Yeah.
Sondheimer picks up king, queen suited. Certainly a playable hand. So you're getting a really good price to enter the pot right away. Pot's 60,000. So
almost a good enough price that limp folding is like okay to do a lot.
I think totally fine. Haxton limping as well.
Duke at 19 says, Stapes, I need motivation to study. Please yell at me. My friend.
10% of you, right? This even.
Please go study.
Yeah, I think you're going to the wrong place.
No, you know why? If you don't, you could end up like me and Dave.
Yeah, true story.
You don't want this. Nobody wants this. Double heads up to the flop. King, queen, 8.
Yeah, this is interesting here. So Sondheimer flops top 2 pair. Haxton open-ended. Sklarek with top pair as well.
Sklarek.
You're going Sklarek?
Sklarek.
I think the H is silent.
Sklarek. Well, some of those letters got to be silent. There's too many there.
Right. I'm just going to make the I and the H and just go Sklarek.
Sklarek. Burns, Skiblisk. Okay, yep, up and down for Haxton and top pair.
Now, because this is a limped pot, somebody could have pocket 8s. That is a consideration. In a raised pot, you might not see somebody having pocket 8s because small pairs don't play that well. But because this is limp, somebody certainly can have that, and I think Sondheimer has to be aware of that. Wow. Sklarek raising here. This is, I mean, I almost feel like he's turning his hand into a bluff. I don't know. Just with top pair, no kicker.
It's hard to be raising this for value.
Yeah, but what hand is he getting to fold? I mean, is he really getting 2 pair plus to fold? Well, we'll find out. I gotta tell you, this is kind of exciting. It's like having the same piece of pizza every single night, and then you found a new pizza place. You know?
You don't know one of Dave's great marriage analogies.
Right, I can use other analogies, but I'm avoiding that. I knew you would read it right away.
Sondheimer 3-betting top 2 pair. Mike Haxton is going to be all in or folding.
Yeah, and Haxton's got the kind of hand that he'd love to be the shover, not the caller. He loves shoving with this kind of draw. Calling off, not nearly as valuable, as he knows he has to hit his hand. And at this point, he also knows he has no fold equity whatsoever.
You know, I will have a dumpling.
Go, please.
Should I just bring him over?
Please do, yeah. Apparently, and I found that really exciting news. You know those little buffet tickets that we have?
Yeah.
We can use this and redeem them for the restaurant food. That's what I did here.
So I can get dumplings and not have to pay for them?
Yeah, that was the end goal. I got dumplings and a risotto.
Oh, you're mixing genres there, buddy.
I
I'm
was,
not really
yeah.
sure about that.
I really wanted the crispy chicken, but they didn't have it this late at night. So it's a dumpling kind of night.
That's it. I'm ending the stream.
Haxton all in. Sklarek realizing, okay, maybe my king 7 is no good here. They're going to gamble. Top 2 against a straight draw plus backdoor spades.
Yeah.
56-44. So the traditional straight draw is only about 36%. Here you see it at 44% because there are less cards in there. Oh, Jack and a 9. Very quick run out there, and Ike Axton gets there. How are those dumplings? No answer now. Come on.
Quick word of advice.
Okay, these are all correct.
That's not sweet sauce. That's a hot sauce. I put a lot of that on there. Okay. Can you pass me a water? That is chili sauce. That is not sweet and sour sauce or a sweet chili sauce. That is a straight up chili sauce.
There you go.
Hot like Ike Axton.
Axton with a ton of chips. We're going to go to the other featured table here. Welcome to the Maestral Resort and Casino. We're learning all sorts of stuff here.
Better have some of that risotto just to cool my mouth down.
Please.
I'm just kidding.
Eat away.
These are yours.
I
did want to try them, though.
I was a little snacky, and I offered they said they'd take it, and they were like, oh, you can get this and this. And I go, okay, sure.
This dumpling break brought to you by our official partner. There should be pictures of the 3 little dumplings down there instead of chips.
Winfred, you in there? A lot of chips. That is a lot of chips. Each one of those blue chips, 25K. Who is the gentleman to his left? You can just see the chip stack.
It's David Benefield.
Is it really?
To his left?
To his left.
To his left is Leon Shikernik.
Oh, my God. How many chips does Leon have?
Leon's got a lot. He busted a dude right before he got in here.
Wow. King's Casino Leon has just heaps.
That, my friend, is David Benefield. Looks like a past Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, Benefield only has 972, so he's not that deep. But Leon with 5 million chips.
Ace, Queen, 6. Both players miss. Benefield out in front.
I feel like Leon should have the nickname Any2.
Any2 will Shaku. Any2 Tisu. Kernick. I'll workshop it. I'll figure it out. I'll get there eventually. About an hour and 15 minutes left on the night. How many players will we be left with? I think we'll be at a... How many handed did they play this game? Looks like 5 or 6.
Oh, thank you.
I think we might make it to the final table in another hour and 15 minutes.
If it wasn't incredibly apparent before that Joe and I know nothing, I think it's becoming more and more apparent, at least as we talk about this game.
Fake it till you make it, Tuckman. How do you think I got this far?
Joe Stapleton,
You
David Tuckman here.
at least played poker professionally for some time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say I'm an amateur poker player.
No, you're somewhere between. You're kind of in this like lost space between amateur and pro.
No, not. I think I'm below. I'm in lost space between whatever's below amateur and amateur.
No, come on. I don't think you give yourself the credit. You can't commentate on this much poker and not absorb just a little bit of it, just, even if it's by accident. Leon with 10s.
8s and King 9 also along for the ride.
Yeah, nobody's going to like this flop all that much. Who bets will probably end up taking it. 13 remain out of a field of 70 players. I believe first place is 2 million Hong Kong.
Nine on the turn puts Benefield out in front of Tam.
Yeah, Leon's still in the lead with 10s.
And Shikernik is always betting with the worst of it, but it's typically into hands that can't call him.
He probably thinks he's bluffing here, but he actually has the best hand.
Yeah.
Another pot for the chip leader. He is the chip leader throughout.
Imagine thinking you can bluff in this game.
I think you probably can. That's the fun thing. The more you learn about a game, usually in the kind of the early goings of any game, when you first start learning a game, you really think, oh, you can't bluff in this game. There's no. It's like limit hold'em, you know, or stud. And then like you see beginning players in PLO, they just think it's like, oh, you got to make the nuts, right? That's it. That's what the game's all about.
You know what? And that was one of the things that surprised me the most about doing PLO commentary is how often a pair wins, or how often. I mean, it's not super often, but it happens.
Right.
I thought it would never happen.
And bluffing happens, and there's all. And like I said, I mean, the more you learn about a game, the more you realize the intricacies of it. That there is bluffing involved. There's value betting. You know, all sorts of fun stuff like that. King Jack 10, and I assume that will be the case in this game as well. It's not going to be just a matter of who makes the best hand. It never is. So a pair of 10s and a bad straight draw for Benefield. Winfred Yu with a pair of 6s and a bad straight draw, but he's going to bet.
The same bad straight draw.
Right. Benefield calls, pots 110,000. Who bluffs at it?
You.
Check from Benefield. Winfred.
You bluff at it.
I think so.
Winifred also.
You can't think you're good with a pair of 6s here. Pot's 185,000. He bet 75 and a fold. Nice bluff by you.
Excuse me?
24.
Falling World asks, does that mean Lex Feldhaus and Randy Lou will be on at some point again? Unfortunately, Lex is playing Scoop. Here, why don't you dunk it? Dunk it right in this. Yeah, why don't you dumpling bag it right in the little chili sauce there. Benefield limping in with 10-9. You with Jack-9. 2 million in chips to start the hand. Also calls. Shkurnik checks. He was already in for twice the ante on the button.
This is Leon's kind of game because there's a lot of limping. And I think he enjoys that. He likes seeing a lot of flops. He likes playing a lot of hands. He's flopped 2 pair here. Some people get really annoyed when a commentator calls this 2 pair. I'm not one of those people.
I am one of those people, actually.
Oh, yeah? That annoys you?
Saying they flop 2 pairs, like I'm kind of neutral on it, but when the board pairs and the commentator goes, oh, they make 2 pair on the turn.
Right, right.
That one, my spidey sense goes off a little bit.
Right, insinuating that they have improved their hand somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you stand on the whole deuce tray thing?
Oh, I don't care. Like, you don't say 2 ever.
I tend to say deuce, but I say 3s.
3s I think are fine interchangeably. I say tray probably 90% of the time, 95% of the time. 2 I will only say if I'm trying to be facetious or if I'm really trying to accentuate how bad the deuce really is. I'm like, oh, and it's a 2.
Leon with the suited ace. Raises to 150,000. Putting the pressure on. I don't know how much experience Leon has in short deck, but if he goes on to win this, this might be the only game he ever plays going forward.
Okay.
We've all been there before, run real hot at something at the beginning, think we're an expert, spend the rest of our lives losing the money back.
No, I've never been there.
Never happened to you?
Never happened to
Happened to
me.
me with horse racing. Hikatea on Twitch says, that isn't why Lex is there, Joe Stapes. I promise you it is. I can absolutely promise you it is. Because Lex called me personally and asked me if I'd be willing to take over him because of Scoop. About a month and a half ago. So you, my friend, have broken the one rule of being a know-it-all, which is be right. That's it. That's the only rule of being a know-it-all. The Party Poker Lives partnership was announced like 2 weeks ago.
It's a good race.
Lex asked me to take over for him about 6 weeks ago.
What happened to 80?
So thank you
Why not 80?
for your contribution, but you are wrong. R-O-N-G.
Look at
wrong.
Leon.
Thank you, though.
Leon
2
there.
pair for Leon. Top pair for Tam.
Yeah. Bottom 2. Sixes in this game are kind of like deuces. Little danglers. I mean, the other rule about being a know-it-all, if you're wrong, make sure that the person you're talking to doesn't know the right answer.
The actual answer.
Because then you can just,
Right.
you can BS your way
I hope
through.
it was
at least.
worth it, though. To try to look so smart in the chat.
All in.
Oh, there it is. A bet and a raise all in. I believe he makes the call.
I don't know if having 44% equity is really worth smacking yourself in the head, Tam.
Yeah, he's got this game. Anything could happen. I mean, he's got 5 outs right now, but obviously whatever turn card comes out, he's going to have more there also, provided it's not a king or a 6.
That turn card is an ace.
And there you go. How's that?
Drawing dead.
Right, you go from 44 to, 100. That's nice.
So lock it up.
How much?
Big pot there. 896,000 chips. Headed over to that man right there, Leon. Small little bump in the road. He's still up over 4 million, though.
This keep.
Let's head back over to our other feature table. Hey, I'll do a prop bet with you.
Okay.
If you just drink all of the hot sauce.
How much?
20 euros. Got to lick the whole thing, though.
In my younger days, that would have been a snap call.
If Joe agrees, we'll get it on camera.
I've licked worse, I'll say that much.
Paul Foy calls the 24,000. We noticed that our antes have gone up. 12,000 for everybody. 24,000 if you're on the button. Chung looking at ace king.
Go Chung Chuen. Triple C.
Raise.
There's the raise. Makes it 150,000 to go. Not sure anybody's going to call. Maybe Paul does. Couple things I don't know about this game. I don't really know the odds. So, like, clearly you're going to flop a set more often, but I don't know how often. Clearly you're going to flop a pair more often than you would in Hold'em. Again, I don't know how often, though.
I don't either. I have no idea how.
Yeah, you're also going to hit your straight more. If you have an open-ended straight drawer, you're going to hit your straight more because there are less cards, less blanks. That's kind of what makes it fun, though.
Ike Haxton is so full of hope every time he takes a peek at those cards. C cubed, 10-9 in the hijack. Ko Chung Chuen. I could really get used to saying some of these Easterners' names. Sklerark, all in.
Yeah, I like them.
The dumplings or Sklerark?
No, I like the names. I like these more character.
Ko Chung Chuen?
Yeah, or Sklaric.
Skiblisk.
Yep. Hey, those of you in the chat, let me know. Should Joe Stapleton drink and lick the entire bowl of hot sauce for 20 euros? If you think yes, let's see ones in the chat. If no, put the twos in there.
Let me at least get my my Venmo out there if anybody wants to contribute. What's the one they just released through Twitter that you can tippin.me? I signed up for one of those, but I have never put it out there.
Yeah, close, yeah.
I feel like this Schleric guy doesn't look completely unlike me.
No, I mean, you both have beards. You both have brown hair.
We're both devilishly handsome.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to go there, but that's obvious, I thought. Paul Foy with a very pretty Jack-10 suited.
Cool. 13 players left in the field.
Scalaric.
How many cash? That's a good question.
Well, there's 70, so we can probably do the math. It's probably not that difficult. My guess would be
6.
Probably 8.
8?
Maybe even 9.
9's a nice round number.
How about 8?
For payouts.
Since somebody just put the payouts up there for us.
I'm going to go with 8.
First place is 2 million or 265,000 US. 8th place is 260,000 Hong Kong dollars or 33,800 US.
We're going 4 ways to this flop, ladies and gentlemen. Queen 9-6 rainbow.
Yeah, that's a nice flop there for Paul. Foy's got an open-ended straight draw, backdoor clubs. Again, as we saw earlier.
But Sondheimer's up and down as well.
Yeah.
He's
again, the problem with this is the problem with the small suited connectors. The problem with the small suited connectors is when you hit your straight, you see it here. When he hits his straight,
he doesn't want to hit the big end of the straight.
Well, he can't hit the bottom end because there's no 5s. Well, there are.
No,
there's
the ace. That's what I'm
the
saying.
Ace, but
and you can make nice disguised straights maybe for folks who aren't really paying attention,
Right,
right? Like
so
you wouldn't necessarily see an ace peel the turn.
And you wouldn't see it,
You
right?
wouldn't think like, oh, there's a straight out there.
I wouldn't see it. I didn't even see it right now. So I guess if the ace comes off, he does have the nuts.
Now, I'm sure these guys will see it. Some of them, at least. Some will miss it. The guys
If a
playing
10
for the
comes
first
off,
time.
though, you got to be really wary. I mean, look at Sklaric. Sklaric's got King-Jack.
It's like having a 3/4 of an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, it's well. There are some games
There's only
like
one end of it you really want to hit. It's
like there are some games that you just got to be aware of. You know, there's a reason why in certain Omaha games like 08 and stuff, you know, you don't really like those 6, 7s, 8s because, you know, when you make a straight, when you make the nut straight, somebody's got a better low than you. You're going for half the pot, and when you make there's only a high, you've got the ass end of it.
So now you're drawn to a straight on a paired board.
Right.
Which is less good.
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, if somebody has 10-9 here, you're drawing dead to that. If somebody's got King-Jack. The only card you really like is the ace again, and you got to be wary that you could be drawing dead right now. It turns out that not only does nobody have trips, nobody has a pair. King high right now is the best hand. A lot of screaming chips in the middle. I think Ike Axton wants to rescue him. Come on, don't drown. Come on my ship. I will take you home with me.
Lies Poker says, everyone has a straight draw. Is that true? It is,
Yes.
right? That's amazing.
Everybody, because nobody has a pair.
That's fantastic.
Paxton's drawing to an 8. Sklaric's drawing to a 10. Sondheimer drawing to the ace.
Is anyone drawing?
Paul Foy was the only one who actually had an open-ended straight draw.
So if a 6
that
comes,
was good.
everyone gets the table of busted straight draw.
Right. I think that pot's over right now, though.
This game's silly.
Haxton's going to win it right now, though. This is just aggressive poker. Ike Haxton, understanding what's going on here. And, well, oh, hello.
Call.
Sklaric has called this with nothing but an overcard and a gut shot. 528,000 in there. We can see he's actually got the best hands. Haxton needs a 7 or an 8 to actually have the best hands. Doesn't hit it. And look at this. Everybody bricks. Half a million chips in the pot.
Same thing. Same. Same. Queen hits, 6 hits. Everyone bricks.
Sklaric.
Is it even possible? Did everyone have everyone else's outs to the point where no one could even hit a straight?
No, there were still outs there, but it was everybody was cannibalizing each other's outs for sure. I'm really curious what Sklaric's plan here. So he called the 150 to check the river. And Haxton gave up, and King High is going to win. This is awesome.
King High.
This.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the greatest thing ever.
I don't know that this is a typical short deck hand.
Yeah.
King High got you.
King High, I mean, would have won had all 4 hands stayed in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
No, believe you have Queen 9.
Queen 9. Yeah, I thought he said Queen 9.
No.
By the way,
For egg to bluff.
based off Ike's reaction, I feel better about saying that I was surprised King Jack called.
Nice answer.
Yeah. He was also surprised.
Also surprised.
Like a shit.
Good old give up, huh?
Nashi with a good point says, even if Sondheimer made the straight with the ace on the turn, there's literally no good river that won't change the nuts on the board. Interesting. Good point.
Yeah, on the jack, I don't get
That's how you're a know-it-all, but you're right. That's a good example of being a know-it-all. You're watching the 100K buy-in short deck ante-only. This is day 1. We're going to end playing about 55 minutes. 13 players remain of 70 total entries. It was unlimited re-entry for a while, and I believe there were a lot of them. I'd be interested to know how many uniques this is versus how many re-entries.
Ike Haxton is actually in for 17 bullets.
17?
I'm exaggerating. No, I have no idea. Sondheimer, by the way, had 2 million chips 4 minutes into this tournament. We saw it. It hasn't been a good go
I
since.
think is also an exaggeration about 4 minutes, but it was pretty early on.
I mean, everybody else had 100,000, and he had 2 million. It was ridiculous. That was a demonstrative raise from Paul Foy. Stood up, threw his chips in the pot, said, come and get it. Makes it 125,000. And nobody's going to call him. Takes that one down. Again, min cash in this is about 34,000 American, which is a pretty good min cash when you try to calculate something. You look at how many buy-ins it is. The buy-in was about 12,000 Americans, so you're looking at being just under 3. Certainly on the high side.
I mean, is there anyone in here for fewer than 3 big blinds?
You mean 3 bullets?
Yeah.
I assume there are.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, the field is only 70 strong. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you're just tuning in here, you missed Steve O'Dwyer winning event number 1 yesterday. Bryn Kenny crushing Souls en route to winning 1.4 million US. And, of course, event number 2. That was the same event he final tabled earlier this year in South Korea. Top 2 for Goose. And a monster for Haxton. These two might go at it once again. Haxton with top pair and a flush draw. Goose with top 2. Flush draws aren't worth nearly as much as they might be in a normal Hold'em game because there are less clubs.
Fewer clubs.
Thank you. Fewer clubs. I appreciate that. Kind of surprised that Sondheimer did not bet this. A lot of scary cards in the turn that you don't want to see. The Ace of Hearts, of course, being one of them. My conversation with Mr. Fast was basically letting him know that surprise doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a bad play. That I think it's a bad play. Genuinely means I'm surprised. Pot's 156,000.
I'm often surprised by the plays people make, and I'm never critical of them.
Right. Haxton calls. Looking for a club. A king could get expensive. Oh, and look at that. Just when we were telling you how difficult it is to make a flush, Haxton makes one. Unfortunately for him, the run out is not very favorable. This could have been a huge pot. Had some chips gone in the flop, this could have been a very, very big pot. As it stands now, Sondheimer really just hoping to get the showdown with 2 pair.
First flush I've seen made in short deck.
And if Sondheimer had a queen, it might be very difficult for him to find a fold because flushes are so rare. But the fact of the matter is he does not have a queen. Pot is 216,000. Both players on 1 million. You are watching short deck here in Triton, Montenegro. No deuces, 3s, 4s, or 5s, and flushes are better than full houses.
明天长牌100万，这个10万的玩不玩？
Haxton has the virtual nuts here. And he has now gone into at least 1, actually 2 time bank cards.
700,000.
And he bet 700,000.
Wow, I love it.
Yep, 3x pot. Goose trying to figure this one out.
Be a very difficult decision with 2-pair in this game, maybe even more so than in Hold'em. Obviously, a queen is a straight, so you're losing to that, but, you know, the flushes are so much harder to make, so...
Yeah.
It might be tougher to give credit for flushes in this game.
I mean, he's also losing to a bigger 2-pair, although this sizing from Haxton would indicate a more polarized range. So my guess would be that he's not doing this with a hand worse than a queen. All that for a fold.
9 of spades, show it. Yeah.
Queen of clubs.
Not going to get the satisfaction from Ike Haxton tonight.
$40 minutes, not one guy flew out.
I didn't know the chip. I didn't take a look.
Heads up.
And is this the same board? What's happening? Queen Jack from Benefield. His 2-pair no good. To the Broadway straight. Tech Lon Tam. The Tech Lon Dawn.
I imagine this will be a much tougher fold for Benefield because it's not a one-liner.
A one-liner just means 4-card straight.
4-card straight, I meant, yeah.
One-liner, I like that. Can I use that?
You can.
What about hello, my name is David Tuckman? Can I use that?
If you want to. I don't advise it. I don't know anybody that would actually want to do that, but if you want to, you can. So he bets $525,000 with the nuts. And so this is a little bit different. You know, you're talking about a bet that's under the pot size. While Benefield certainly doesn't have the nuts, what hands is he losing to? He's losing to sets. He's losing to King-9. He's losing to 9-8. He's losing to Ace-King.
6-7.
He's not losing to 6-7.
6-6.
He's losing to 6-6.
Queen 10?
No.
Jack 7?
No.
7-7?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a fun game. We can do this all day. So I think this is a little bit more difficult. I don't know if Lon is betting. I don't know this game well enough to know if Lon is betting a worst 2-pair ever. If he is, it becomes a really, really tough fold. If you know your Queen Jack is just a bluff catcher, he makes the call. Like I said, this is a much tougher spot.
That is going to put a dent in Benefield's entire day.
For sure, yeah.
Youch.
Big hand there for Lon, who's up to 2.3 million, or is that 2.9?
Thank you.
Nonetheless, a lot of chips.
What a hand for Tam. I kind of agree with no lube here. There are no bluffs here. He would have to be turning 2-pair into a bluff for 3 times pot. Doesn't make sense. Unless he's talking about the last hand, which there does seem to be a little more delay.
Yeah, I think that's the hand that he was talking about.
Well, I agreed with him there, too.
Either way, I like it. Although I caution anybody to say that Haxton can't find the bluff. Over-under on Leon's VPIP, 87%.
That's a good line. I take the slight under on it. I think he's coming in about 80.
Winford Yu with ace-queen. Benefield with 10s. Benefield a little bit distraught there, flopping 2-pair. His opponent gets there, and Winford Yu says, all of it. Benefield with 10s. From what I heard earlier on, the overcards in this particular spot are actually a favorite.
Same thing, you go all in, I go. Yeah.
And probably a bigger favorite than the pair would be in Hold'em.
Yeah, from what I gather.
It'll be tricky sometimes.
there's just less safe cards. But hey, you can always flop a set.
If you flop a set, you're usually in pretty good shape. Winford, you're looking for running cards. Oh, that's about as good as it's going to get there. He's looking for a jack or a diamond.
Is the sweatiest card in the deck.
Oh, that is.
Man, how do you make running diamonds in this game? Benefield, Busto.
Man, he's gone in 13th place. While 4s might be unlucky for Chinese, 13 unlucky for Dave Benefield.
It used to be Dave Isafield. Now it's Dave Benefield. Past tense.
Yeah, I am going to stick with my original thought that pairs under kings are garbage in this game. I don't like them. Even when you flop a set, you lose.
Particularly unlucky. Again, I don't think the results were typical there. It must be incredibly hard to go runner flush in this game. Outer table action. No hole card information, unfortunately. Peter Jett involved. Sam Greenwood looks like he raised. Jack on the river. I feel like the same person that invented short deck is the same guy that invented the sawed-off shotgun.
I think they are the same
They're like,
person.
how do I make this thing smaller and more dangerous?
It might actually be the same exact person. That is Sam, because Sam's a man, and men have beards.
Yep, you got it.
Peter Jetton, by the way. Babyface, Peter Babyface Jetton. If you had a
what year is it? The year of action?
Yes, the year of action. I have no idea. If Peter Jetton was in a beard growing contest, he'd be in very bad shape. That looks like King Queen on a Ace Jack 10 board. That looks like the nuts for Mr. Greenwood, and Greenwood gets paid. Nice hand there. Sam? I want to thank some people on Twitter here. Brian Space stepping it up. Look, I got a graphic.
Cool.
He says, here are PLO versus short deck probabilities. They play similar as a result, only flush is a lot different. He also gave me an article. I will read that article tonight, Brian.
I will
can't do it
not.
right now.
I will continue to get it wrong. Guys, we're going to take a short break while we redraw for the final two tables. More from the Super High Roller Triton Series in Montenegro after this.
Jason Kuhn, how does it feel to represent two brands that I know are really close to your heart, man?
Yeah, it feels great, man. It was just like both of them were kind of serendipitous. Like they both came up through random discussions with people in both organization, and we kind of both had this moment where we're like, oh yeah, we both could use one another, and it ended up being great. And I'm really happy to see both of those companies now working together. It's really exciting. It's like now Party Poker sponsoring these stops, and you see a lot of the Party Poker people here at Triton's and vice versa. So it's just a ton of fun, and I'm really happy it's all coming together.
It works really well, doesn't it? Because I can imagine there's a time going back where you was like, I'll just have any online sponsorship. You know, when you first coming up through the ranks, like.
Oh yeah, whenever I was really young, I dreamed of it. But then there were like a few like shady sites, and obviously I wouldn't have wanted to be a part of that. But then you see like this, not young site, but a site that's up and coming and trying to do better things than the monster. And I was happy to be on their side, and it seems like they're ruffling some feathers and kind of starting to take the lead in a lot of ways.
You started out at the PCA at the beginning of the year, didn't go that well after a great 2018. Then you go to Jeju and absolutely smash it. What happened in Jeju, man?
Well, at PCA, I only played the 100K and the 50K.
Oh, you only played well, okay.
Yeah,
right.
I only played 2 events, and I cashed once, so it started okay. But at Jeju was a joke. I mean, I was just like winning every all-in, and it was kind of one of those trips that happens every couple of years where you're just like, well, I complain when it runs bad for a while, so I'm going to sit here and enjoy this kind of always having ace-king, always seeing a king on the flop kind of thing for 2 weeks straight. It was awesome.
And obviously that was on the back of coming to Montenegro, your first Triton experience, leaving here, doing very well. As you know, what is it? Is there something going on with this tour where you just actually feel at home? Why are you producing at these results?
I feel like mostly it's just a really small sample, and I've run really well. That being said, I love being at these Triton stops. I feel refreshed and excited to play, and it's a laid-back environment, and the stakes are huge, but it doesn't feel that way sometimes. So I do feel like I play a pretty high quality of poker when I'm here, but for the most part, I think those results are me running really well.
They just called you back to the table, Jason, so we'll let you go and kick some ass. Good luck here, man.
Yeah.
Daniel Jungleman Cates having a massage with his legs. How's life?
It's pretty good. As you've seen, been kind of relaxing and kind of doing some other things. And actually, I've been losing at poker, but whatever. It was going to happen at some point.
Losing at poker doesn't matter when you're surrounded by naked Playboy bunnies, right?
It matters less. Let's put it like that. It matters a bit less. You're not thinking about it as much. You're thinking more about other things. I'll let you guys figure out the sort of things that you might be thinking about. And definitely how you got to this point is one of those things.
Is this true that you're going to appear in Playboy magazine?
I believe that's true, yes.
Naked?
Me naked? No.
So, come on. Are you the new Dan Bilzerian of poker?
Well, Dan Bilzerian has about 20 million. What does he have, like 30 million followers or something like that? I've got like almost 10,000. So, I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Didn't you get into a little bit of a Twitter fight with him or something recently?
Not much of one. More like he was berating using how like social media is bad for their world or something like that, and I just found it ironic because the guy has like relied so much on social media, he like forgot that actually it did something really good for him. Like sometimes I feel like when people berate things like that, they don't see it.
Hello, my babies, and welcome back to the final portion of the evening. 100K buy-in short deck tournament live from the Maestral Resort and Casino in Montenegro. The Triton Poker Super High Roller. Day one of this ante-only event. 70 total entries. 12 currently remain. We've got everyone at our 2 featured tables now. We'll be jumping back and forth between the 2.
8 of the 12 players will cash.
Joe Stapleton, David Tuckman, Uncle Daddy, and what, do you have a nickname? The Touche.
Yeah, I like that. Let's go with that.
Stapes and the Touche. Our chip leaders are Leon Shikernik and Teklon Tam. Almost 4 million in chips for Shikernik. Just about 3 million for Tam. Our short stacks, short S stacks, I should say, are Ko Chung Chuen and Jay Erlings.
Yeah, it doesn't appear anybody is that short from the limited research that I've done in this game. It appears that while 76 and 79 antes aren't a ton, it seems like they should be, they can play a little bit of poker.
See, to me, it actually looks like they are short. Now, if you think about it, they have 79 antes, right? But you can't even play a hand for an ante. So you actually have to cut that in half to even enter a pot.
Right, but it only costs...
So they've got 40 pots they can enter, and that's just minimum. I think that's actually relatively short stacked would be my guess.
Maybe it is.
It seems, I think that it's deceptive because we're used to looking at
blinds.
Blinds. So 79 sounds good, and 40 even sounds okay if you cut it in half. But that's...
Well, it costs, to play an orbit, it costs 7 antes, right? If you see no hands. You got your button is 2 antes, and then the other 5, 1 ante apiece. So it's 7 antes just to play an orbit. If you played no hands, it's 7. So
right, so you should divide by 7 then.
Right, they can play 10 orbits worth of poker.
Yeah, but no. If you're doing it by the metric of big blinds, right? So if you want to count big blinds, 20 big blinds is short. That's 20 orbits. So
no, if you have 20 big blinds, it's more than 20 orbits. An orbit is an M. M is the ante plus the big blind plus the small blind. So
20 big blinds can't be more than 20 orbits.
No, it's less.
Right, it's less. Okay, so what I'm saying is, so if it's 7 antes for an orbit, you got to divide the number of antes by 7.
Right, so that's about 10 orbits. 10
that's
orbits.
10 big blinds.
No, 10 orbits is different than 10 big blinds. Because an orbit and Hold'em, I feel like you and I are having an argument over something that's completely...
I bet neither one of us is right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But my thought process is this. So to play an orbit of No Limit Hold'em, it's generally now at the big blind ante, it's 2.5 big blinds. So to play 10 orbits would be 25 big blinds. To play 10 orbits here, you need 70 antes. So I guess you could theoretically say 25 big blinds equals
70 antes.
Sort of ish, yeah. Is that
right? Yeah,
right?
that's relatively short. I'll agree enough
there
until someone proves us wrong.
No, I think you're right though, because your original point of the whole thing was that 70 antes is somewhat short.
It's pretty short, yeah.
And I think you're right, because 70 antes should be. If that equates to 25 big blinds, then that is pretty short.
Anyway, let's focus on the action we do know. We do know how to cover this a little bit more than we know what we're talking about.
I know Lim has a pair of aces here. We do not know what Haxton's other card is, but certainly interesting since he has an 8. Could be the 7 of spades. That would make the most sense. Which card would he bet here? And which hand would he be in from the cutoff seat with the 8 of spades? I would venture a guess that his most likely holdings here are either ace-8 of spades or 8-7 of spades. Sondheimer, though, not a believer, decides to raise. Now, from the button, since you're already in there, if there's no raise, you're the one who's most likely to have some trashy 7. The button in this game is kind of like the blind in the sense that you could have any 2, especially in a raised pot. Especially in a limped pot. And Haxton gives it up. Nice play there by Goose.
Run, Goose, run.
Once again, if you're new to short deck, no deuces, no 3s, no 4s, no 5s. It's an ante game. Everybody antes. The button antes twice. Now, to enter the pot, you have to put in that second ante. But if there's no raise, the button can see the flop for free.
Jordy Erlings. Know absolutely nothing about this fella.
I'm going to tell you one thing. The beard, the glasses, the scarf, it works for him.
He's mysterious.
Yeah.
It helps that he's a mystery. It's crazy how mysterious someone can be when you've literally never seen them before.
Sondheimer up to just about 1.5 million.
Gang Culture says some quick maths from the touche.
I mean, the one thing I got from Randy was essentially, even if you have a couple of hundred antes, you're not safe in this game. You can't really relax unless you have 1,000 antes. Haxton with kings. While I have said disparaging things about pairs lower than kings, I like kings.
Kings is bottom of Tuck's range in this game.
I like ace-king. I like jack-10 suited. I like kings and aces. I even like queen-jack suited, king-queen suited. Those are hands that play pretty well, I think. I just think tens, jacks, those are really troublesome hands in this. I mean, those hands suck in regular hold'em, you know?
Right, right.
Like when you have jacks, all I want to see on the board is a bunch of deuces and threes. I wonder if this gets Lon in a little bit of trouble here. So you see this, Lon is on the button, kind of like the big blind. He could have any two, and sure enough he has. Queen 7, it's an absolute garbage hand, not connected at all. Not sure what Haxton's going to do, but I'm sure whatever it is, it's right.
It's correct, yeah. Just a call.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you want to keep the queens in there.
Queen 7 has 3 pair now. Ike 2 pair, better than that. And it's a full house for Ike on the river.
Yeah, he has the second nuts here. Can't beat quad 9s, but he can beat everything else. When Lon checks back the turn, it's very unlikely that he would have a 9 in his hand. A lot more likely that he just has a queen. Haxton probably thinking that and thinking, how do I get value from a queen?
Well, I'm not saying I'm as smart as like my instinct was to check there and try to let my opponent bet their queen or bet their 9. And Tam didn't fall for it.
So you and Isaac both made the wrong choice.
咁剩3個，仲黏，仲黏，哇，好撚勁喎！我哋會等剩3個仲黏喎。
There's the Joe Stapleton look like.
Sclerotic. Haxton, the 7 deuce folds.
I was watching the short deck cash game on the Triton YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
If you don't subscribe to that, I highly recommend you do. It's a good watch. So I was watching that, and just like a lot of no limit players will play the 7 deuce game.
Yeah.
They were playing the Jack 6 game.
They played the Jack 6 game. I was joking about that earlier because somebody on the other table bumped it up after it got limped 4 ways, bumped it up with Jack 6. And I was like, what are they playing, the Jack 6 game? I didn't realize it was a real thing.
Lim's going to raise it up to 125,000. And nobody's going to get involved. play has tightened up considerably as we approach the money. Everybody was splashing around earlier on, having fun, gambling. But they're all looking at the payouts, and 2 million Hong Kong up top. Nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I was a kid that time.
Quick transition to table red.
1993.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was selling first of my antiques in Harborfront Antique Market.
Really?
Ooh, I would go antiquing with Leon Shakurnik.
Like furniture and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a fainting couch.
What couch?
A fainting couch for my foyer?
Is a fainting couch a real thing?
Yes.
What is that?
It's just a piece of decorative furniture.
It's not a real couch? It's like a fake
well,
couch?
it's a real couch, but you're not supposed to sit on it.
So it's like a faux fireplace, faux couch.
You put it near your front door. It's like got a half arm on it, and it looks almost like a chaise lounge. All right, this is an all-in and a call. Domination Nation.
Yep.
This not that short.
50-50. Maybe.
All-in pre-flop with ace-king.
I like your card better.
Leon is suited at least.
You like his card, can change.
But I don't think that's as valuable in this game.
No.
Given how hard it is to make a flush.
It looks prettier. Makes you feel better about your hand, but... Oh, it's a good start for him. Had a little 10 in there also. He's now looking for a 10.
I mean, even being out paired here, he's still got 25% equity.
Yeah. Running clubs, running queens. Running queens.
Running queens, or just a 10.
Yeah, 10 would chop it now.
Queen and 10.
10 chop.
Queen good. 10 chop. It's a lot of odds still.
Oh man, running queens.
Short deck.
C cubed is out of here.
That's what Randy Lou said. Every time something crazy like this happens, everybody just goes to the table and goes, short deck.
Ah, short deck for you. Not the first time Leon has put someone to bed.
Yeah, the antiquer is racking up the chips. And he puts another player to bed. I'm not a big antique guy, but I think that would be fun. There's a really cool swap meet near my house. It's actually apparently the biggest swap meet in the world.
Oh, the Pasadena Flea Market?
Yeah, the Rose Bowl swap meet.
I've been there. I went there very recently.
So yeah, I live around the corner from there.
Antes are up.
And it's a lot of fun. I've been there a couple times.
I bought a shirt there, a poker shirt.
Oh, there you go.
For Ace Plumbing Company, and it says where we always make a flush.
That's a good shirt. I like that. I would wear that. We've actually, I would say, 20% of our house furniture we've gotten from there.
It's a good time, but we were there for 3 hours and probably only walked through half of it.
Yeah, it's enormous. It is absolutely enormous.
Okay.
But if you're looking for furniture in the Southern California area, it is quite the bargain. Good bargain hunting. If you're an antiquer, also a good place there. I don't get any commission for that, guys.
I think I wrote a good joke there. How do I search my tweets? I think I wrote a good flea market joke.
There is a way to search your tweets. You can search for keywords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Greenwood, Ace Jack is going to call. As Joe mentioned, antes are up. Ante is now 15,000. The button is 30,000. King, 9, 8, no suits. Top pair here for Paul. Not much going on for anybody else. Winford, you with a pair of 9s. I think they should play this game pineapple style, meaning you get three cards, and yeah, you get 3 cards, and you've got to discard one on the flop.
No, I was lying. Only one thing.
All I remember is I wrote down flea market versus Goodwill. And I can't remember what the bit was. It was basically just that, oh, I feel like everyone who has stuff at the flea market just buys it all at Goodwill and brings it there, marks it up. 10,000%.
Well, there's a fine line between just like junk and antiques.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Mike Haxton under the gun. Ace Jack.
Yeah, the limp re-raise strategy, very much part of this game, it appears. Sondheimer with a what appears to be a pretty bad hand, 9-8. Juan's got 10-8 suited. He's going to play, though. These connectors, the higher they get up, the more valuable they are, of course. Lim with Queen Jack. I kind of like Queen Jack in this game. Connected, makes a lot of straights. You can make top pair. Shkilaric in there with King 10 as well. And our man of mystery. That's reason enough, by the way. The whole ban against scarves. You can't get rid of scarves. You get rid of that then.
Oh, just this stoic-looking boss. 6, 7, 9, 2 pair for Erlings.
Yeah, but a straight
for
Milan.
Tam, yep.
Look at that.
Better double check that.
It's got to be annoying for Erlings. He's on the button. He had
All
no
in
choice.
for 2.8 million. It's a bit of an overbet.
Yeah, he doesn't want to see any turn cards. And you kind of feel for Erlings. He only has 822,000. This is a hand he probably wouldn't have played, but he's on the button. Nobody raised. He didn't have a choice. Flops 2 pair, and now what? You'd think with this big shove that your hand is good, but your opponent probably has some enormous draw.
So ace 8 is a straight also, right?
Yes. Ace 8 is a straight, and 10-8 is a straight. Other hands that I'm trying to think of other hands that might do this. You know,
like bottom set might do it.
Yeah, maybe like also what about like King 8 spades type hands?
Yeah, open-ended and flush draw.
I mean, you wouldn't think the nuts would do this. Either way, though, Erlings, what a fold, huh?
You wouldn't think the nuts would do it, but I guess I don't know what your equity is against big draws there. Like if you have top 2, even against an overpair, you can't be in great shape, right?
Probably not. No, it doesn't seem like anything's that good shape. And to that point, Toby Nash has tweeted in as well. I want to thank him. He said, yeah, to give you a quick answer, short deck equity is very similar to PLO equity in the sense they run close.
It's 2-card PLO.
Yeah, it just seems like you're never that far behind. Mainly because there are less blanks. We always talk about like deuces and 3s and 4s being a blank. Well, they don't exist in this game, so.
No blanks.
Just from a poker theory standpoint, though, I wouldn't normally think that he would have the nuts. So, hey, I'm going to give Erlings a lot of credit for folding top 2.
So Kapika on Twitch says, anyone want to have a bourbon with me over Twitch chat? Must supply your own booze. Do you mind if I go get us a couple of bourbons?
I don't mind at all.
You drink bourbon?
I do.
All right, I'll be back in a few.
Stapes is out. We're going to share a bourbon with you, Capico. I'll be here solo here, David Tuckman. Randy Lou and Stapes will start tomorrow's broadcast, by the way. And then I will jump in the booth with Randy Lou, and then, of course, Stapes will be back. And we'll continue doing this kind of threesome, but only 2 people in at the same time, action all series long. You are watching the Triton Super High Roller Series in Montenegro. We're at the beautiful Maestral Resort and Casino. This is event 3. Steve O'Dwyer won event number 1. Bryn Kenny won $1.4 million US by taking home the 6 max. Lon with the bluff here. Jack high. Gets it through. Lon up to 3 million chips. Putting on a show. On his left, our right, top right of your screen, you might see, gentlemen, that's Lim. He finished 7th place, bubbled event number 1 here at Triton. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining us. It's been a great ride. I see you guys in Twitch. Angry Epiphany, JTS, Ups Guy 7, Loctus, Capico, of course. Gang Culture. Who else is in there? Ray 927. Frozino. I appreciate the tweets, too. If you have any questions for me or Stapes, I can pass them along. You can tweet us. Use the hashtag Triton Poker. Tweet us at Tuck on Sports, at Stapes, at NanoNoco. And we'll get to those questions for you. Get a raise here from Sondheimer on the button with ace-9 of spades. Kind of a funny game in the sense that, yeah, being suited obviously adds a little bit of value to your hand, but you almost want to look at your cards with blinders and just realize that the suited aspect adds so little to your equity that you might be advised to ignore it a little bit. You know, where being suited in a close spot and hold'em can kind of tilt you in one direction. I don't know if it's enough. We've literally seen one flush. Now, in addition, something you probably shouldn't be as scared of when we're playing hold'em, for all of us at home, if a diamond were to come off here on the turn, we all instantly get scared, right? We're like, my top pair is no good anymore because my opponent has to have the flush. Okay, that's not correct in hold'em, and it's most definitely not correct when you're playing short deck because the odds are, even if a diamond were to come off on the turn, your opponent still doesn't have a flush. Nine of hearts, though. Your opponent certainly could have a straight right now, though. Scalaric still with top pair and a gut shot.
Check.
Sondheimer with just a lonely pair of nines. Both players on 1.2 million chips. Queen on the river. Easy value bet if you're Scalaric. Unless you think you can induce your opponent to bluff. $555,000 in there. If you're playing a home game, or you're playing a casino that allows you to kind of switch things up, I always find it fun to kind of like add new elements to games, whether it be, play pineapple and add a third card, or play short deck, or just make up the own rules. You never know. You might invent the game. It's a lot of fun. Creating new games and kind of putting twists on the same old games that we play day in and day out is what keeps it fun. I love hold'em, but I grew up playing many different variants of poker, and I just can't imagine only playing hold'em. I'd want to stick my head through a wall if that was the case. It's just, you got to mix it up a little bit.
I'm just waiting for Triton to introduce guts.
I'm in. Let's do it. 2 card or 3 card?
No, I'm out. What's the biggest guts debt you've ever seen racked up?
It's kind of funny, you know, when we played like in high school and stuff, and it was the best thing was by the end of the night. The beginning of the night always started off like, you know, we're playing like, you know, 25 cent, 50 cent. And by the end of the night, somebody had written an IOU on a small little piece of paper that had like $384 on it.
Oh, that's it?
No, I mean, there was more, but I'm saying
it gets up to the millions sometimes when you're playing in high school.
But we would keep it to the point where you actually could. There's a bet of 380,000 and a fold from Goose. Nice laydown by Goose. Keep in mind, you know, we're like 17, 18 years old. We're playing quarter 50 cent. We're like, you know, the big winner should win $25. The big loser loses 20, whatever it might be. And by the end of it, there was always countless small little pieces of paper of IOUs around the table, and one of them would have like, you know, $400 on it, and be like, oh. I can't pay you that, but this summer I can. You know, it would take weeks and weeks and weeks.
Oh, people
to
pay it off?
Yeah, we had because we continued playing. Our mantra in the game was you had to pay your debts because you couldn't play the game anymore otherwise.
That's good. That's good. That teaches you responsibility. Cheers, Capico. This bud's for you.
Yeah, cheers. You gonna make a drinking sound as you drink?
No, it's gross.
Go.
You might go.
It's not a bad drink. What is that?
Very simple. Just Jack Daniels.
Oh, by the way, the crew had a delicious whiskey last night.
Really?
Yeah, they get gifts of these, like, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
$1,000 bottle. They offered me a glass.
The crew should get gifts.
They should. They work their ass off. Nobody works harder.
I certainly don't.
No, people hear us, but it's the crew, guys. They do all the work. When we're done, they're shutting down. On May 18th, when this is over and we all leave, they're still here for another day, shutting it down and breaking it down.
De-rigging, packing up.
Oh, thankless job.
I mean, it's their job to make us look and sound good. How hard of a job is that?
Right.
3 ways to this flop. King, queen, 10.
Yeah, a lot of action here. Everybody's got a little something. Erling's with the best of it. We're looking at him. I've never seen this gentleman before, so I've never seen him with hair. I think it's safe to say, though, he looks better without hair.
He's a fine-looking bald man.
Yeah.
Goes check, check, over to Tam. Top pair. Is he going to fall for it? Nah.
And that's going to kill all the action.
That is a bad card for everyone.
That is an action killer. Now it's a question of, if you're a goose, do you turn third pair into a bluff? Erling's still with the best of it right now. He's going to decide to bet this. Could be one of those situations where he's kind of betting because he doesn't know what to do if he checks.
Mm-hmm.
Small little bet. I mean, he doesn't even have a good two pair. He's got bottom two. Lon's looking him up and down. I think he's eventually going to find a fold here, though. Yep, that's Lon's folding face, I can tell.
I would call for the chop.
Just call hoping a jack falls?
Yeah. Same as an inside straight draw.
Right.
People call with those all the time. Granted, they're doing it for the full pot usually, but... Boris19S says, just to let you guys know, you make a set 18% of the time with a pocket pair and short deck versus around 10% of the time in no limit hold'em. Interesting stat, assuming it's true.
Oh, look at this. So, Lee McCluskey. Lee McCluskey.
Yeah.
Has tweeted in from the real Mr. Vinton and has sent me a short deck hold'em calculator.
Oh, wow.
I can't look at it right now, my friend, but thank you very much.
Is aces still the best hand? Because that's what Ike Haxton's got.
Yeah, aces are still the best hand.
As he's eyeballing. Erlings is his stack. Erlings. Ike limping the aces.
Ooh, and this could be ugly for Lim. Lim's got jacks. Not the kind of hand you want to. You really don't want to take a flop with jacks, and he's going to. I like this. I mean, I think jacks should kind of be played a little bit passive. I feel like when you bloat that pot up with jacks.
I think you should play jacks like jacks.
Boom! Look at that. He hits middle set.
You're gonna hit a set 18% of the time. It's something I knew.
I think you might hit a set more often, though, in this game.
Than 18% of the time?
Maybe not. I have no idea. You hit a set, what, 1 in 8 times in Hold'em?
Yeah.
It might be 18%. That might be right. Probably a good shout. Everybody's got a little something here. So Haxton's got the aces. He can't like this flop. Erling's with an open-ended straight draw plus a pair of nines. Lim with the set of jacks. And his hand is really under-repped. Because normally you would think that he'd be raising with a pair of queens, a pair of jacks. Even queen-jack might be a raise from the button. Now he could, though, you could have 10-8. You could have king-10. I think this is a difficult spot for Haxton.
I mean, if people are limping aces, they're also limping queens.
Right, different spot, though, because he was on the button. So he's last to act. You're limping aces, hoping somebody raises, and then you can jam it down their throat. Haxton just 13% to win the hand. He's going to make the call. Drawing really thin.
We see how often do we see people when they pick up equity on the turn, they pick up so much equity.
Well, that's an interesting card, isn't it? By the way, jacks are still good here, but nobody likes this board. 2 pair versus aces versus set, and everybody is sick.
So Erlings is drawing dead to the chop.
Yeah, and he needs, what, an 8 to make the chop? Yeah, Erlings needs the 8. Haxton can win this now with a king or an ace. And the rest of the deck is for Lim. And Haxton bets. The price is right, though. Lim's getting more than 4 to 1. He can call and just hope the board pairs, right? As far as he thinks he has 10 outs to improve. We can see that there's 110 and 19 dead. We can also see that he's actually got a stranglehold on his hand. He makes the call, pot now 580,000. Man, 10-9, I think you kind of have to let it go. And he does.
Ike gets there. What timing? He said 1 moment, please. Server comes over with the menu. Immediately, I was just about to comment how Ike just didn't react at all. And then I see him look away, and I'm like, is that a oh, no, wait, it's a server.
What a disgusting run out for pocket jacks.
I told you, man, when you pick up equity on the turn.
And Haxton went from 13% on the flop, I think 23% to 100. Haxton all in. We're 3 away from the money. This is for Haxton's tournament life. Thanks for Lim to chew on as he ponders whether he should be calling or not. Keep in mind, Haxton bet the turn also. So you got to figure, okay, what hands does Haxton call the flop with? Then bet the turn. Could he have a hand like King, Queen that got there on the turn and now has decided to turn into a bluff? As annoying as it is to fold jacks,
You gotta do
set,
it. It's
he
brutal.
does it. Nice laydown.
Closing in on the end of the night here. Quick shout out to our official partner.
Can you bring the menu back? Been trying to order food for 20 minutes. They wait until I'm playing a river. Come over, ask about the order.
Seems to be a little confusion on Twitch, and unless I am wrong, I don't think I am because I haven't heard this. In maybe different short deck versions, sets beat straights. Not in Triton short deck.
Right.
In Triton short deck, a straight beats a set. That's why a king would help. A couple people were wondering that.
Thank you very much. Can I have some spring rolls, please?
Just to make sure you guys are aware, once again, in this version of short deck, there are no deuces, 3s, 4s, or 5s. Ace can be low or high. So the ace 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 flop. I'm sorry, the ace 6, 7, 8, 9 flop is a straight. And flushes beat full houses. That's it, though. Everything else is normal. So straights beat sets.
That's a lot, though.
That is a lot. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot to chew.
Haxton limping in with Queen Jack. William Chin. Ace King suited. Should be good enough for a poke. There it is. There's the raise. Lariuk. Such an effort. King 9 seems like an easy fold. I think Haxton folds as well. Yes, he does. Take it down. Preflop. Spicoli Andretti wants to know who we got commentating at the moment. I am Uncle Daddy Joe Stapleton. With me is the Touche, David Tuckman. Bringing it on home here from day 3 of this entire series. Day 1 of this short deck event. Event number 3. It's a 100K buy-in. That's in Hong Kong dollars, about 12,000 US. Sondheimer's turn with the aces.
Couple of big hands here, huh? Lim, 150,000 with his queens. Sondheimer with aces. These players not that deep. Erlings is considering it, but I don't think he's being serious here, and he lets it go. Back over to Sondheimer. And again, I'm talking from a perspective of inexperience. I would imagine you don't want to slow play as much in this game because there aren't as many dry flops. And on the wet flops, you might lose action. So if your opponent has a big hand, get it in when you can. You know, these flops are going to be more connected without any deuces, threes, fours, or fives. And if Goose just called this, flop comes out, you know, let's say 7, 8, 10, something along those lines, or, you know, something connected like that, the queens may be afraid.
Yeah.
So I kind of like this play. I like being aggressive with it. Lim has a question to ask himself. Does he want to bubble another tournament?
Oh, man, that's a hell of a question.
Yeah, he finished 7th place in event number 1. We watched that.
It's a great memory, man. All this bleeds together for me. I would never remember something like that, but certainly he does.
Yeah, he actually lost 7s to 8s. That was how. That was the hand that did him in.
Hell of a memory, Dave.
And I mean, obviously, you try not to think about that when you're making this decision. You want to just make the best decision possible in each and every moment. But it's hard for that. It's hard to not let that creep into your memory.
Did you say 12,000 US? Whoa, says Joe Dang on Twitch. Yeah. And this was an unlimited entry event. By the way, that's the smallest buy-in event here at the Triton Super High Roller Series.
There's the call.
All
yeah,
in.
this is a baby event here.
This is just a warm-up to learn short deck for a lot of these guys. Sondheimer, the player at risk. And again, in short deck, you're not as big a favorite with aces against queens as you are in other games.
Yeah, he's still a pretty sizable favorite, though.
Just not quite as big.
Right. Neither one of us can quantify that for you, though.
No, we have no idea. We just know it's different. Ace is holding so far.
Yeah, 2 hearts out there, so running hearts. Not a good thing for Lim. In fact, the heart on the turn will eliminate one of his outs. Only a queen will save Lim, otherwise he'll be down to about 400,000 chips. Oh, saw that paint there for a second.
So Sondheimer is going to double up to 2.4 million. Lim, verified short stack now.
I swear, when I saw that paint, and it felt like Top Gun all over again. It felt like Maverick lost control and Goose was dying. Oh, sorry.
Dave Tuckman loves him some Goose.
If you don't like Top Gun, you just don't like being entertained. Spin for Silver says, fold. This is not Hold'em.
Wow.
But then Nikolic, 320, says, good call.
Not sure if he's trying to say queen is higher or queen is here, but we appreciate the effort.
Spicoli also says, Stapes, I always recognize your sultry voice.
It is sultry, thank you. I went to sultry voice school.
Yeah, you could be a
spent thousands on this.
late night jazz host for like radio.
You're listening to The Quiet Storm with Stapes. Uncle Daddy is here. 25 minutes past the top of the hour. Current weather outside, 78 degrees and crispy.
Yeah. Sound like that.
Sweat's making me hungry. He was very hungry. I don't know. I feel like this tournament I get older. How much? 1 point. Just over 1.4.
We got Andre in the chat. Great Torp himself says it's 3-1 instead of 4-1.
Okay, there you go. So it is less. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
It is fewer. No, wait, that's not right that time.
I think short deck makes you age faster.
Short deck makes you long in the tooth.
card that keeps me young. Yeah.
你大不嚟咪贏啦。
Over to featured
你再推翻落嚟。
table number 2.
咁啊，你依家個10都 call 唔到。
Or table blue as it's known sometimes.
Once again, thanks for joining us here for the Triton Super High Roller.
Or table red, whichever.
Trying new games here. Peter Jetten with the Ace King under the gun. People come up with the new games all the time. Daniel Hart has tweeted in, said, here's one that we've been doing. If you want to make a guess, heads up and after the river of your opponent's hole cards, you guess right, each player pays you a big blind. If you guess wrong, you have to pay one big blind into the pot for next hand.
I'm assuming suits don't matter.
15K.
I don't know. He didn't get specific on that.
I mean, to have to guess rank and suit seems like it should pay you more than one big blind each.
Yeah, you're getting like 7 to 1 basically on your money. Ace 8-7, 2 spades out there. So Jetten with the best of it right now with Ace King.
Check.
Leon with a pair of 7s, backdoor diamond draw. Greenwood also with a pair of aces. I don't think Jetten's going anywhere, that's for sure. Just a question of whether he wants to raise this or just call.
Not in this, the year of action.
No.
No, the year of expression. What year is it, guys? Come on.
Leon, back up to 5 million chips. He lets the 10-7 go.
Jack of spades on the turn.
Yeah, neither player with a spade in their hand.
Check.
Peter checks.
Are we raising up the $1,000 check?
I mean, if Greenwood bets again, he doesn't. I was going to say, if he bets again, it's kind of turning his pair of aces into a bluff now, especially with that turn card.
Nice 7 there. Would have been real nice for the player that had a 7. They're no longer in the hand. So Greenwood's kicker doesn't play anymore. Jetten's kicker, way good.
Yeah, and I think this is the spot where we were watching Bryn Kenny earlier today. Now, obviously, it's a very different game, but this is a spot where Bryn Kenny was betting and was getting value. And Jetten's going to go for a little bit of value and get paid. Jetten up to 2 over 2 million, 2.1. Greenwood down to 990,000. As we continue to toil about. Is this the last level of the night?
It must be.
Let me get 5K, Leon. Yeah.
$11 players remain. I thought we'd get to the final table tonight. Action slowed down considerably. We saw tons and tons of all-ins leading down to the final 2 tables.
How many hands we are playing?
We're just playing till the time runs out.
Oh, okay.
And it's the beer level, allegedly.
Running good. You talking to Leon?
Or in our case, the jack level. Nemanja Stapa. Did you say this right? I don't know if you read this or not, but he says, by the way, Erlings is Proto, one of the best online players ever.
Prot 0.
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny that, but I mean, he's here at the Triton Poker Tour, so
He's probably got some money.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say he's wrong. That certainly seems like it would be a connection to make. Thank you, Nemanja. Appreciate that, buddy.
So Winford Yu limped in with ace-9 of spades. Shakurnik made it 140,000 with jack 10. Peter Jetten, pocket kings.
Yeah, he's got a question here. He's got to ask himself, do I want to 3-bet and make it an enormous sizing here? And he's gonna go all in. Or did he want to make it enough where like Leon feels like, I got to call, see if I get lucky.
How much is this all in?
This all-in is for 2.2 many chips.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Here's aces.
I think Jetten just doesn't want to mess around. He figures, you know what? If Leon's got queens or jacks, he's going to call.
2.1.
And I want to get the action. Jones saying, is this game ending soon? Yeah, we're going to call it a night fairly shortly. But we're back at it tomorrow, guys.
You keep saying he got aces.
No rest for the weary.
2.6.
2.18. It's not just ending soon.
2.18.
This is the last hand of the night, the last hand of the day and of the night.
Half of my stuff. Sometimes it has to be. He's the aggressor. I only bet this. He has aces. I have 10 jack. So the action is there, right?
Leon's pretty spot on here with his read.
I said this is as good as his aces. What's better, aces or jack 10? What's better in this game?
It is his first time playing short deck.
You should ask Paul. He played the most.
Aces are a favorite over jack 10, by the way.
Why so brutal? Why all in? Call.
Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that.
Oh, this is good. Kings versus jack 10.
See, I said he got 10 jack.
Jetton's favored. By how much, I have no
I
idea.
don't know why it's so brutal. You want to raise them up.
Yeah, it's a gamble anyway.
It's a gamble, yes. I'm not folding anything.
Apparently not.
It's out.
Oh boy.
The king is no good, though. He needs an 8.
Correct.
King is no good on a paired board.
Luckily, his kings are also blocked.
Right.
And a queen.
Yeah, queen would have Leon drawing dead.
So scared,
So close.
Peter Jetton sweating this one out.
Only 14% equity for Shakurnik.
1.9就190萬400萬就個
Double up Jetton.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable it is. Believe it, though.
Somehow kings hold. Unbelievable indeed.
Take it.
Now you become chip.
Take it. Leon's still on 2.9 million. Jetton up to 4.3 million. Exciting stuff going on here in Montenegro.
Yeah. 52 more? Okay. Is it the finish of the day?
Finish of the day indeed. We got any chip counts?
You're a chip leader now.
It can go the other way tomorrow, so.
Well, there's the chip counts for you.
Leon Shakurnik, not even, excuse me. Peter Jetton is, in fact, the chip leader after winning that hand with 4.3 billion in chips, the overall chip leader for the tournament. That's going to do it for us for the day today. Just to go over the stats there at the end. 11 players remaining. 8 of them get paid. Dave really wants me to eat this hot sauce, and I can't do it for 20 euros anymore. I'm just past that point in my life. But maybe you can work on
so rich
raising that tomorrow. Yeah, work on raising that price tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we're back broadcasting again. We'll be on the air again at 12:15 local time. Cards in the air by 12:30 local time to play this event from 11 down to the winner. We will get to the cash tomorrow as well. It's about $230,000 for first place.
Yeah, it's a great payday. It's been a lot of fun for everybody here at Triton Poker. For Joe Stapleton, I'm David Tuckman. And, of course, Randy Liu. Thank you so much. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.